And we should be live. Presumably. Hello, everyone. Oh, I see that there's quite a selection of you. Hey, Jay. Hey, Ray Ray. Thank you always for your moderation. Hello, Suzanne. Great to see you. Hey, Ren. Hey, Pumpernickel. Hey, Genesis. Lovely to see you all. I thought I'd go ahead and set up the old-style splash screen, which is quite lovely. Hey, Vane. Good to see you. Is everybody ready to replay the MSQ? Oh, actually, should we first watch the answers video? That's a question. Because that's such a setup for what comes next. I will let you guys decide that. Hello and yes. Okay, AC. Then let's do it. Okay, everyone's in. Shutting up. The idea of still going to war over the battle at Cart now, while Dalamud is falling. Like, can you imagine literally, like, the moon falling down and people are just still fighting a war? Just, like, still gotta hold the line. Agreed, Ariel. If you're gonna do it, don't half-ass it. So I'm just going to recount some of the lore going on here in case anyone's unaware. So this is during the time at the end of 1.0. This is the battle at Cartnow where the united Eorzeans fought against the Garleans to prevent their occupation of Eorzea. And at the same time, the Red Moon Dalamud has been pulled down upon the planet by one of the Garleans. And so the idea is to wipe out all of Eorzea and then rule the Ashes. Or ostensibly, that was the claim. And this warrior here is the stand-in for your character, assuming you treat your character as a 1.0 character. And for all of those of you who have played Shadowbringers and done the role quests, their appearances may also be familiar. Damn, this still looks good a decade later. They've got augmentive spells, AC. I guess they don't have necessarily defensive spells. I mean, kind of. Yeah, no, not everyone was expecting a giant dragon to burst forth from the moon. I can't even imagine standing there and watching that happen and rain from the sky. Like, this shot is just, can you imagine? And then Louisoix. Phantom, your videos were so great. It taught me so many things. Oh, thank you, Phantom. I'm glad that they help you. That's really nice to hear. We made you become a Lalafell. That's great, Suzanne. A dragon raining hellfire is most definitely an apocalyptic level event. And for all of those of you who have finished Endwalker, I'm sure this entire song also has more meaning now as well. So important, this thing that is being summoned is a primal, and it is not literally the 12. Which, if you played Abyss of the Realm, they also specified, but that has been something that's been known since technically even 1.0. So unable to save you, Louisoix basically casts a spell of Ulthic because it's his symbol. So it's not clear if it puts you in stasis, if it propels you into the future, what it does exactly, but it secures you away for 5 years until a Realm Reborn. Hey, Sairine, glad you could join us. Or at least it would be if not for Louisoix. Yeah. Hello. His plan was basically, we find out between 1.0 and the short stories, his plan is to summon what he knows is going to be a primal. He says to everyone, I'm summoning the power of the 12, but in secret to Minfilia and a couple of other peoples, he knows what he's doing is not actually going to summon their power, it's going to summon a primal through the faith of the people, because he knows that's their only chance. So his front-facing plan is, oh, I'm going to call upon the power of the 12. But in reality, he knows exactly what's going to happen. Odin. It's so funny how Odin displays prominently and yet is not exactly a prominent figure within the... I mean, he is within... He has his own story, but it... And it also ties into Eureka, so it still matters. Ah, the Crystal Tower. I'm sure that'll never come up. But it's also so clear when this was being made, it's showing Yoshi P understands Final Fantasy, right? Like, Final Fantasy 1, you couldn't even ride a chocobo. But the idea of having Crystal Tower, the Behemoth, Odin, all these symbols of, like, what Final Fantasy is was super important, super vital in order to prove that when they were making 2.0, that they could make a real Final Fantasy game. And speaking of Chocobo, yeah, Power, there has been in both short stories and Encyclopedia Eorzea, it's been explicit prior that they the summoning was primals. But yeah, it's so nice that there's even more examples in game now, especially with the Mists of the Realm stating it directly. I also love this, the idea of the Corrupted Crystal and the Mega Flare being a symbol of beauty and of a world reborn at the same time. Oh, and the Shard of Dalamud up to the top right. Kind of a shame we can't interact with other adventurers, supposedly also sent ahead in time. Yeah, we could wonder if they were lost, you could wonder if we just never met back up again. There's a bunch of different possibilities. Yoshi P has said some stuff about it. Mostly don't think about it too hard. Okay. So we're gonna make a new character. My plan is to make him look like Elio. Okay. It looks like Balmung is open. So do we have to do Balmung? I think we might have to do Balmung. Load appearance data. It's a good looking guy. Save. Oh no, I don't need to save. I can just go ahead with it. Migo supremacy. Okay, what's my birthday? Do I just make it my real life birthday? What is Elio's canonical birthday? And also, who is his patron deity? Is it the smith? Because like his whole thing is smithing and hammers and stuff. How much was known about Bahamut before the cinematic? From what I gather, it was hinted it was more than a moon at most, and Louis might have known. Yeah, Lind, basically that amount. And because of what happens with the White Raven and what happens with, I say the White Raven, I mean Nail Van Darnus, it's clear that there is an entity or something within the planet controlling people. And so there's a lot of hints, but it's not a lot that's explicit up until really the cinematic. Wait, why are you disappointed in me? Okay, I'm not playing a Mikote. Look, at the point at which I'm going to play something that is not a Hyur or, you know, Elio, so an Eorzean, at that point, fuck it, I'm just gonna play a Lalafell. Might want to just server definitely. One moment. I'm just tweaking a little something. I'll let you guys decide what I play as. Within reason. Or maybe I'll just do Elio and you guys can decide where I play. Yeah, I have no idea how to do that. Okay. Lalafell, anything but Lala, Aura, do it as Elio, Bunny or go home. Yeah, okay, with all of you on not deciding, we're doing Elio, because literally every possible answer was put forth. And we're gonna do what amounts to September 9th, which is my birthday, 9/9. Okay, well, Halone would make sense because of Ishgard and being an Eorzean, but Elio is supposed to be from Sharlayan, so Thaliak makes sense. But also, his is the study of the material research and goods of the world, as well as having a background in smithing. So Byrgot makes sense. So do I go Thaliak or Byrgot? I mean, there's always Bun Boys as an option, JK. You're not joking. Don't lie. Catman, not to be confused with Catboy. Nice, man. 2 votes for Lala. Okay, you know, I bet there's some interesting lore implications with Alala. I mean, there's a lot of interesting lore implications with Lalafell. Like how they poison their children, which is a fact. I would have loved dog-based people as a playable race because I like dogs, but I'm happy with what we have. Vera Hrothgar, pretty cool. I mean, you kind of get beastly with Hrothgar, and then you have the new Mo. I mean, the new Mo, which you can't play as, but, you know, Thaliak, be back in a bit. Okay, Thaliak. Okay, everyone's saying Thaliak. We're doing the Wisdom Boy. Okay, I have started in Gridania, and I usually start in Ul'dah with almost everything I've played. I've only really played like 3 characters. I've never started in Limsa, so I'm thinking we're gonna start at Limsa, and I think the plan is I'm gonna play whatever the canon job was for the expansion. So since the canon job for A Realm Reborn is Warrior, we start as Marauder. That's my plan. Lala do what? Yes, so Lalafell poisoned their children, and I will explain why in a moment. Didn't Krause say Thaliak is the main deity, not all scholars choose to him as deity? Yes, that is absolutely the case. Sharlayan has Thaliak as a sort of patron in a removed way. Like, they're not very religious as a whole, but it's because it's representational of the things that they love. But it's not like Halone with Ishgard, right? In fact, most places don't worship their deity like they do in Ishgard. Like even Gridania with Nafka, people don't in Gridania will worship all parts of the 12. They don't just worship Nafka. And I mean, it's freaking called the 12's Wood. Can we take that put out of context? They poison their children, which is a fact. It is. Poison as in building up immunity. AC gets it. Yes, because we're evil. Okay, yeah, so we're starting as Marauder, and I actually have to... Let's not misname my own character. Okay. Now I'm double-checking myself. Yep, okay. I spelled everything correctly. No! Ah. Okay, well, we know what we have to pick. What world, then, is accepting new characters? Are we doing Curl, Goblin? Let's do Curl, because... I don't know. I like the creature. It's the cat with the whiskers and does electric stuff. Let's fast forward through this. Yes, yes, yes. Save appearance. No, I don't want to save appearance. 5th Astral Moon. 9th. Confirm. Thaliak. Disciples of War. Marauder. Okay, Brynhilde. Yeah, that's fine. Elio. I don't care. Let's get in the freaking game, and then we can worry about stuff. Okay. Okay, Balmung's NA Legacy, that's why I can't do it. Haha! A monk and Girabani and Samurai and Othard Hingashi. Yeah, Lori, I think that's definitely my plan. I will do that. I will be doing Dragoon for all of Heavensward. I will be doing Dark Knight for Shadowbringers, and then Paladin for Endwalker. And hopefully a Magic user for 7.0 whenever we get there, because I really have a feeling that there's a good chance that it'll be a Magic user for 7.0. They haven't really been represented nearly enough. And while a healer would be cool, there's a lot more you can actively do with a caster, like doing visually cool things, that makes me think that it's more likely than a healer. Opening video. Here we go. Or no. Yes? Yes. Yeah, taking the boat from Charlene to Limsa makes sense, JT. Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking as well. About to ask a spoiler question, decide against it. Yeah, feel free to ask that in a little bit. If it's Endwalker spoilers, maybe hold off for a second. But if not, feel free to. Anything before Shadowbringers or everything before Endwalker is fair game. I started with a black mage, I'm assuming. If you have not finished, typically what I've done for fair game is that if you have everything before Endwalker is fair game. However, especially with Shadowbringers, maybe be a little careful if you think it's particularly egregious. But we want to be able to talk about stuff, and the whole point of this is diving into the lore.
Hear, feel, think.
One thing I love is that that's La Habre. You can tell from the mask already, even this early on. They're setting him up as for imagery. Not gonna lie, the warrior armor proportions looks pretty good on his Eorzean. Because it's so broad on a Roganin, it's like kind of too squat for a healer. Hello, definitely not Eric Thonius. It's also reminiscent of Endwalker's theme, like seeing the beginning and the end. Yep. Very much so. I mean, being in the Ethereal Sea helps with that a lot. Oi, y'all right, lad? Oh, right. You're on the boat, of course, rather than the wagon. You were moaning in your sleep and sweating buckets besides. Rolling of the ship got your stomach churning, has it? don't seem like C6s now I look at you. It'll be Aether then, I reckon. Some are more sensitive to this stuff than others. See, ain't we too far from Vilbrin now, which is chock full of Aetherites. No need to fret, though you'll soon get used to it. Oh, Super Sides, thanks for the donation. Question, is this a secondary playthrough, right? Yes, this is the first time I've played A Realm Reborn since 2018, which the first time I played it. So we're gonna be playing it, and we're also gonna, so it's gonna be reactions, but also talking about the lore. I reckon might head out on the deck, get myself a breath of fresh air. Limsa Lominsa's still a fair way off, in case you were wondering. Seeing as you're awake and all, how about you keep me company till we get there? Them youngins don't care much for conversations, see? I love that they find a way to slip them in every opening. Any road, Brennan's the name. I have used this shot so many times for imagery of sailing ships and boats for videos. Man, recording footage for videos has got me so familiar with like a wide breadth of cutscenes, but most of them have been in the like Shadowbringers Onward primarily. By the way, Super Slides, thank you, Super Side Swiper. You're the first person to ever donate on YouTube, so thank you very, very much. Now then, lad, judging by your unusual garments, I say you're the one of them new adventurers. Am I warm? I knew it. Gone wherever the wind blows, seeking fortune and glory. Now that's what I call living. So long as you can avoid dying, I mean. Ain't no secret that adventurers a risky business these days. These days especially. What was it that first attracted you to it? Honestly, none of those. Which choice are we picking? I'm gonna let you guys pick while I catch up on things real quick. Just me, I was want to make Lalafell. There are a lot of fun Lalafell names. I would say take the Lalafell naming conventions, AC, and just make something that's really funny but still fits. Like, let's think, like, Papashan, Nonoshan, Popoke, Babake, I don't know. Taking the boat from Charlotte is about to ask a question, thinking of the dark yet asking the cute speaking, gotcha. It's also remnant of Endwalkers. What amuses me is that whatever city you travel to, the twins will be there with you. Yeah, there's a really interesting question about what the canonical answer for which starting city is the canonical starting city. I argue it's Ul'dah, if only because the Endwalker trailer that showed us on every part of our adventure had us starting in Ul'dah. I always wondered something about the Echo. Was the vision meant to be the Echo or blessing, supposed to be like supposed to be like a foresight vision? Seeing as we, in theory, have we'll get through this. The blessing hasn't been granted to us yet. We don't have the mandala and stuff, so it would have to be the Echo, or at the very least, it could be just Hydaelyn reaching out to us broadly. My question was ARR time frame. So yeah, anything that's ARR, totally go ahead. So in regards to Lala's, so Nenemo just didn't have a high tolerance. So okay, to explain really quick, Lalafells can be poisoned by their parents to specific common venoms in and around Thanalin. They put it in their tea as children, and just they build up small tolerances. The poison that ends up being used on Nanamo is a very different poison that's highly specific and is more like a sleeping draft. So you haven't played through the 2020 AR rework either. Maybe worth commenting on along the way. No, I have not, Lind, and that is part of why I was waiting. I'm going in completely blind for every change that has been made, not only in these current reworks from the past patch, but the one you're talking about in 2020, the abridgment. So that's going to be really interesting. Okay, so we can talk about things up to the current story here. Yep. Usually just go no response. Everyone's saying no response, so I think we're going to go with that. Okay, is there no Moogles in this opening? The audacity. No, that's why Gridania is superior for some people. Well, if you ain't inclined to tell, I ain't about to pry. Maybe old Brennan's a chatterbox, but he sure as hell ain't no busybody. We all have a secret or three, don't we? Me? Dozens. As I'd rather they stayed secret too, which is why I don't go sticking my nose where it ain't welcome. Just remember though, there's more important things than fortune and glory, such as breathing. Ain't no profit in being dead, that's a fact. True. It's also cool that your main 3 choices are all conventional adventurer choices. You're not, it's not about like the saving of people, so like your role as a whole changes as a function of time. 500 yen. Oh, thanks, Renzar. Thanks so much. I gotta go to work, so just stopping by to say hi. Enjoy. I'll catch up later with the VODs. Thanks a ton, Ren. Ships off the starboard prow. Pirate colors. Actually, wait, pirates? Well, okay, it could be the Reavers. I was about to say, why are the... power, Jane. That's weird, like parents exposing kids to chickenpox. Oh, hey, Chris, good to see you. Yeah, basically, that's this exact same idea. Gaming kind of more like giving a vaccine, I bet. Yeah. All 4 end in a warning not to die. Guy's kind of bleak. I mean, but think about his parallel when we enter Shadowbringers and what happens to that guy not shortly after. Since I doubt the dose is that high. Yeah, man, I don't remember this at all. Is the merchant you talked to at the start the same guy in all 3 cities, or are they triplets? I'm gonna say triplets. Have you no sense? Get below. I mean, you're being hit by cannons. Is there gonna be that big of a difference? What are you doing a playthrough on EU servers? Hint, hint. I could do that. Make that like a reward or something. No, but I should make a character on EU or JP as well. What is the world coming to? Pirates flying on a ship flying Lominsa colors. Bastards either have a boatload of balls or bugger all for brains. Or tempered. You can rest easy, friends. We made it out of cannon range. Ain't no buccaneer's bark will catch that flighty temptress once the wind's in her sails. That was too bleeding close. Glad one of us has his head on his shoulders. I'd reckon I'd lost mine otherwise. If them pirates gave up the chase, we might be close to port. Let's head up on the deck and have a look, shall we? And this is actually a great shot of Lominsa. EU servers, ooh woo. Isn't it canonical in most of that cases that adventuring is just meant to pay the bills? Only a few take it on for legitimate reasons at first, yes? Yes and no. There are a lot of people who are doing it for fame and glory as well for paying the things. Like, I mean, if you, by the by, is this your first time in Limsa? So, like, this question here is allowing you to, for instance, say, oh, I'm a 1.0 player or I'm not, even if you don't have a legacy account. So is this my first trip to Lominsa? No. Though not, thought not. But I'll wager there have been some changes since your last visit. Allow a journeyed itinerant to appraise you of the current state of affairs. Lominsa prides itself on being Eorzea's foremost naval power. Weren't too long ago that the place was ruled by pirates, but thanks to the current admiral's civilizing influence, the city-state could almost pass for a respectable nation. You never guessed she was once a rum-swillin' buccaneer herself. Man, dude, of the leaders, Merlwyb has a fascinating history. I mean, they all 3 do, but, like, I love Merlwyb's history. Of course, most folk ain't so quick to change, and with a town full of liberty-loving ruffians, you can't imagine how many naysayers and troublemakers she's got to deal with. Like them pirates who took a fancy to us just now. And if it weren't bad enough, I've heard the Sahagin are raiding the coast just as bold as you please. Then there's sea dwelling beastmen the locals call fishbacks, case you didn't know. And likely also part and parcel to what was just being attacked by the pirates. Assuming it was the Reavers. Ah, at long last, land ho. Behold, Limsa Lominsa, a nation blessed by the ocean's bounty, and beloved of Limlane, goddess of navigation. There's also some interesting parallels between this whole setup and the shots in Endwalker, which I think someone was pointing out earlier, but yeah, sitting on the boat, the seeing of Limsa Lominsa, very, very similar. So you can meet the others too if you want. Jack Sparrow, stop blowing holes in me ship. I just rewatched Pirates last, like, a week ago.
Amidst the roiling waves of the Rotan
And the narrator for this is Louis Swap.
lies the maritime city-state of Limsa Lominsa.
EU cat girls, best cat girls. I won't argue.
To this haven for bandits and
Particularly,
brigands,
I think raw
cutthroats
women are
and
more
curs,
attractive, but I'm
seekers
crazy.
of both freedom and fortune comes a lone
So if you start-
adventurer.
What if somebody was sent to Othar to Ilsamar? Maybe
No,
there's a
yet
ton of
not
them.
alone, for the hero's arrival has drawn the gaze of the nation's patron deity, Limsa. What realm-shaking fate has she descried in the churning waters of this mortal's future?
It's interesting because you get Nafka for Gridania, you get Limsa for Limsa, and you get Naldal for Ul'dah, which is apt. Those are those patron deities, but it's interesting because all of them also have a secondary deity that's loosely associated with them and the areas around them, like Azima, Oshan, and Althik. I'm off to the markets to deliver me wares. Then it's on to the high road for me. Oh, okay, wait, maybe he does travel between them. Okay. Here, I want you to have this by way of thanks for saving me arse earlier. Also, I just love the twins just walking through frame. Hey, you never did tell me your name, did you? Well, here's an idea. Become the sort of storied personage I can brag about having met, and I'll consider us square. We did do that. We did succeed.
Through peril and hardship, discovery and triumph, may the navigator guide this brave soul on his life's voyage. Till sea
And so the adventure begins.
swallows all.
There's one thing here that I think was a poor choice on their part, or at least the wrong choice. The logo you're going to get here is from like the 1.0 style era. It's like that. I feel like it would have been so much more powerful to have the Realm Reborn logo come in because, you know. So if you, I remember watching the 1.0 cutscenes of Merlib in battle. She shot a man in the groin. I say she's still a plenty pirate. Yeah, she freaking charted a course to the new world at age 20. She was the first person in 100 years to do so. She's crazy. Where's the boat coming from? Ooh, that's a great question. That's an awesome question, Chris. Okay. Okay, well, let's think about places. It could be coming from Thavnair. It could be coming from the New World. It could be coming from Sharlayan. It could be coming from Ul'dah. The fact that the image of what you see in 1.0 when the light shines and you come back is within a forest and seems to be near the statue of Althik, or the symbol of Althik, makes me think that I would argue that we are coming from a ship. We traveled from the Shroud and got passage on a ship somehow. That's my pitch. Last night I watched the eclipse creating a blood moon. Reminded me of what I see in ARR. Scary as the moon looked, like it was being devoured. Yeah, Catherine, I did the exact same thing. Yeah, it was very pretty. Voiceover is very quiet. Okay, I'll make sure to adjust that. I remember the VA from somewhere. Yep, Louis Swa. Oh my god. I'm gonna skip forward a little bit. Royal women do have great thick hair. Didn't know a blasphemy could speak English. Highlanders are where it's at. I feel you, Abel. Syrian, but what do you pull since Royal women don't have tails? Their hairs. Jesus Christ, Syrian. Imagine Louis Swa as a ninja riding a toad and you might see Jiraiya. I only should reason watching this video, but A did like to remind how hilarious it is. The Thal is the dual aspect because Koji wanted to make us swear with Thal. This was being made maybe before the logo was finalized. That's a good point, Chris. I hadn't even thought about that. There's a good choice. Yeah, this was during the 18-month turnover from 1.0 to 2.0. Yeah, there's a hot chance that this is one of the earliest things created. So that's a good point. Will the series be archived and replace the other series of the playback feature? Yes. I'm going to make sure it is archived in some way. We're going to figure that out after this. It will be up after this. I wasn't paying close attention when I finished this month, but I believe that a Rumragor logo flashes at the end after the MSQ, so perhaps there was the intention Legacy logo opens, the new logo closes. That's a good idea, Vame. Hey, you there. I mean you. This is my district, and I'm making my business to know all the scum that washes up in it. Kind of aggro, but okay. An adventurer fresh off the boat, is it? Well then. Allow one of Limsa Lominsa's finest to set you on the right path. Hop to it, lad. I haven't got all day. from Othar 2, I guess. Yeah, there is some trade between Othar, but usually most ships are going to go from Othar to Thavner, and then a ship would go give its stuff to Thavner, and from Thavner then to Limsa. However, that's not as much the case in current days. So, like, the way we get there during Stormblood is particularly weird, and it intentionally goes out of the way, our way to make it, I do not need any of this. Oh god, I'm gonna have to set this shit up. Okay, let me read chat while I do that. I would say, depending on your race, that changes where your origin's from. Yeah, which would also be really cool story pitch down the line. I would say, Zen, I would say the way it is framed is intentionally so that you can justify almost any origin story for yourself, for your character. You could say, oh, they're from, it turns out that they're an Alra from the steppe, and they ended up somehow on a boat that got to Limsa, if you wanted. Like, it's made that way. Can't be somewhere we went in 2.0 because then why wouldn't we know the place as a trader? I assumed we joined Brennan and Thavner, which acts as go-between. Yeah, so if we came from the South Sea in Mericidia or Corvos, it'd be surprising if we came from Mericidia because they're basically still hostile to anyone from the outside. Corvos would be a little bit weird for certain races, but still works. You could say Whirlit. The thing about what I would say is that if you imagine that you spawned in the 1.0 cutscene that we see for if you have or the 2.0 cutscene that if you have a 1.0 account, right? Imagine that you see that. We could then imagine that you are traveling from the Shroud, but you never actually go to Gridania or meet anyone. You end up traveling from the Shroud and fighting your way to the Strait of Murlthor and find passage from there to Limsa. You know, like that's one rationalization. In this case, I'm saying my character's from Sharlayan, so they ended up coming down from a ship from there. But we can never go there, like we can never meet a certain someone. Yeah. Like, that's the difficulty, is if you make it anywhere, then there's never going, like, anywhere you have to assume that you didn't meet people, because eventually we're going to go with just about every location. I'm sorry for bringing down the collective chat IQ. I'll send myself the time out to look at pictures of amigos with fluffy tails. Sarian, don't stop being you. Elio, why is the rum gone? Because the rum's always gone. Ooh, now I want rum and coke. Or sake and coke, that's my favorite drink. Man loves staring at Bateron. Why would you pull a Mikote tail? That mean? Bateron is wonderful to start with, yes. Bateron, why is the rum gone? Oh, right, I have to talk to you first. Oh, God. Okay. Does anyone remember how to set up your system settings? To, like, carry them over. It's been so long since I've had to do this. You copy it. Where to and where from? Mirror City is a big unknown. We don't know about whether they're or not. In the character files. Oh, okay. So I'm going to have to log real quick to do that. Let's do that then. You can copy it over, but it's a file in the directory thing, not an in-game feature. Okay. Configuration, or not configuration. Isn't there? Wait. There is a function. Let me check something really quick. Mirror City is a big unknown. I mean, we do know some things about Mirror City and their relationship with the outside world. New features been allowed. Save backups of your character settings and client. It's strongly recommended that you save. Yeah, proceed. Download. No. Okay, I need to switch to my normal character. Zalera. Proceed, upload. Preparing data. Migo supremacy, Serene. Spending the money where it's at. The ability to control origin file. Our origin flies in the face that we are the chosen one and have so little agency in 2.0. That gets weird quick. I was confused by calling Mikote Migos because it sounds like the name you get citizens of Alamigo. I feel this is worth laughing at. All Mikote are from Alamigo. That's you already heard it. Because I asked yesterday my friend, Ew emoji. The rum is where the drowning wenches are. There we go. If this does not work because it only allows you to go, doesn't allow you to upload it between servers, I am going to go ahead. Yeah, okay. I'm going to then just play, and I will fix it later. That's fine. It's not like we're going to be doing a frick ton of heavy combat. Sepiro, hello. The boat being from Charlene would actually make a lot of sense due to the twins being on it. Yeah, it does make a lot of sense. Yeah, actually, if you think about it, that makes the most logical sense. But there could be stopping off points. So you can imagine it comes from the Northern Empty, came down into the Strait of Murlthor, and regardless of what point you want to imagine you started from, you then can argue that you would end up being able to get to the Strait of Murlthor. The other thing, too, is 2.0 kind of allows you to either assume that you're the Warrior of Light from 1.0 or not, with how it's framed. To be recognized as an adventurer in the city-state of Limsa, you must first register yourself with the Adventurers Guild. You're on Zalera? That makes me excited because that's where I play. Oh, good, Kellen. You should totally join our community. We have community events every Saturday. Now then, I'm sure you're itching to explore, but adventurers are required to register their presence in the city, and without a bit of local knowledge, you're like to get your throat slit in some piss-stinking alley. So before you do anything else, get yourself over to the Drowning Wench and enroll with and enroll with the Adventurers Guild. Come on, Bateron. I miss you already. It's not far. Just head straight down this street and speak with Greyfar. He'll show you how to work that big moving platform we call the Crow's Lift, and that'll take you to the pub. Once you're there, look for a fellow by the name of Bateron. He's the proprietor of the Wench. He might curse like an ale-sodden sailor, but the man's got a soft spot for wide-eyed newcomers like yourself. He'll set you straight. Got all that? Good. Now run along, and may the navigator guide you on your journey. My understanding is console players can't do without the swapping to PC to do it. Oh, that sucks. The twins are also another starting points. Yeah, so that's also... So if it's not Limsa, they could have ended... The thing is that they could have taken the boat to Limsa and then traveled to Ul'dah or to Gridania via coaches. So they would have had to have taken the boats in the first place from Charlene to Eorzea because that's the primary method of travel. But yeah, we would have to assume that they then further would have ended up somewhere else via the coach system. The Admiral's official quarters are no place for sightseeing. If you see the Drowning Wench, try the Crow's Lift over yonder. It would help if I went to the right one. Find it endearing that Mikote kids have nubs for tails. Actually do to have since it's past midnight and you... Okay. Sorry, Serene. Lovely to have you, and thanks for the gill, as it were. As the twins appear in the wagon. So the older a Mikote is, the longer the tail is. How I perceive that above info. Here's hoping we meet a magically immortal Mikote and using their tail as a scarf. It's an idea, Lind. What's your favorite city to start in? Ul'dah. I have a love for Ul'dah. Get your rum. Hello, Gaming Kinda. Yes. You guys should definitely check out Gaming Kinda at Chris and his channel. He does great work, as well as Ginger Prime and Work to Game, their whole project. We came from parts unknown. Nowhere we go in the story. It's how I see it. Totally works. I'm just here to poke holes. The Charlene starting point could put us from the New World. Yeah. After AR, I can't exactly remember when it was we last did duties for the Adventurers Guild. Other than patch content. I mean, you have some connections with, but you don't really do anything for the Adventurers Guild after that. Not really. Ellie, save me. People are scary. Jay, I have no idea what people are doing that is scaring you, but welcome to humanity. Do Luminsans prefer their wine or rum? Typically, they prefer rum as a byproduct of historical practices for drinking from dealing with brackish water, but they also became very famous for their wine production, so they're also known and connoisseurs of their wine. But I would say as a whole, we see a lot more examples of connoisseurs of wine existing from non-Luminsans, and a lot more Luminsans being excited or stating their desire to drink rum. So that's a conjecture, really, but greetings to you, lad. What'll it be? But you ain't air for the drink, are ye? You've come with a mind to try your hand at venturing. I reckon, well, you'll find no shortage of work here in Limsa. The name's Bateron, and the most hospitable of hostilleries is the Drowning Wench. 'Tis also the home of the Adventurers Guild, in Limsa. That's why we got a desk specially for your handling guild business, and why I seem to be spending more time saving the necks of whelps like yourself than wetting the throats of me regulars. Adventurers have knack for finding trouble, you see. Ain't that the frickin' truth? Not that they need it in these parts. An account of there being trouble whenever you look. If you manage to steer clear of fishbacks on the kobolds outside the city, the pirates on the inside will get you instead. And if they don't manage, there's always the Garlean Empire to finish the job. Oh, no one knows what they're planning, of course. But if they're planning anything, you can be sure it's to kill the lot of us. Aye, this town seems peaceful at a glance, but look again and you'll see a people living in fear of what tomorrow might bring. And who can blame them? After everything that's appeared, Eorzea took a mighty blow during the calamity, but our homes weren't the only things what got it wiped off the face of existence by that thrice-damned bastard of a dragon. It took our bleeding memories, too, and no one's been able to explain it in a way that makes an ounce of sense. None of the folks what saw it ain't lived to tell the tale seem to agree on how the tale actually goes. 'Tis all foggy, like recollections from a hard night of ale. You can imagine why people might fear for the future if they can't rightly recall the past. But there is one thing we all remember, and that group of adventurers what laid down their lives to drag Eorzea back from the brink when she was bound for the abyss. Well, I say we remember. Truth is, though we ain't forgotten what they did, for us, this goddamn calamity spawned memory loss, robbed us of their names. It won't even let us picture their damn faces. 'Tis like staring at a gull flying in front of the sun. All you see is in your mind's eye is a shadow set against a blinding glare. And that's how every bugger describes it. By the way, give or take the odd gull. It's this what got people calling these heroes of the Warriors of Light. If Limsa's ever going to put this time of darkness behind us, it's going to need venturers to help banish the fear. It's going to need new heroes like the ones we lost. Maybe one day you'll be one of them. And that's why any aid we can give to adventure is an effort well spent. What say ye, lad? You willing to lend us your strength? The nod. The famous nod. Me thanks to ye, and to the navigator and all. I knew she'd steer ye my way for a reason. Ah, but listen to me yattering on like some such sun-touched fishwife. 'Tis high time we got your mark on the book. In me book. Put your scrawl right there. Oh my god, you guys are talking up a storm. Thank you so much for the chatting, but I wish I could get to all of it. Elio Forgeron, is it? And a fine name it is. Congratulations, you're now an upstanding member of the Adventurers Guild. You there, adventurer, you sailed in on the last ferry, did you not? Fucking smug gas grin. The captain reported being attacked by a pirate vessel, and several witnesses have testified independently that a passenger matching your description went out on deck mere moments before the incident took place. Sending your friends signals, were you? Now hold on just a moment there, officer. You got the wrong bloke. The fine upstanding young gent is me dear departed grandma's sister's niece cousin's closest companion. The lad wouldn't be caught dead fraternizing with such an unsavory element. Dude, I love Baderon without having played this, and now playing this, he's the fucking best. Is that right? You surely are aware of the recent kidnappings. Respectfully then, we cannot be too trusting of outsiders at a time, when the loyalty of even our closest friends is at question. Aye, you're making a good point there, officer. A very good point. Very wise. You needn't worry, though. I'll keep one eye open at all times. Me ain't too more often than not. Now, sir, what say you a tankard of me finest ale before returning to your duties? Now, a watered-down cup of piss like the last time, I should hope. Ain't got the faintest idea what you're on about, officer. The wench might offer some of the cheapest grog on this side of the Strait of Murlthor, but that don't mean it won't get you good and pickled. Aye, and look, there's a chair over there just crying out to be sat in, so kick off them heavy boots, eh? My sister, son's girlfriend's mother, niece, brother, cousin. Yep. You'll have to excuse these eager, bloody yellow jackets. There've been a spat of kidnappings, see, and they ain't got a clue who's behind them. Naturally, they take into clapping irons on anyone who looks vaguely suspicious, which means venturing visitors and pretty much every bugger else in this town. Don't take it personal. Though us Lominsans can be a headstrong bunch of bastards, 'tis true, but given time, we grow on ya. Now, where was I? Oh, aye. Welcome to Limsa Lominsa, where the sea's as green as the faces on me patrons, after a few too many black bellies of whiskey. Now take a moment to gather your wits, and well get started with learning ye ways of the city. Oh, trust me, I know the ways of the city of Limsa quite well. This concludes the introductory game tutorial. I don't know why I'm reading this. Okay, let's catch up real quick. Have fun with the playthrough. I'll catch it tomorrow during work. Buy yourself a Fantasia, maybe. Migo. Sarian, thank you so much. Sorry, I missed you. Someone doted on me. Who are these people? Rum. So where does the rum come from? A distillery would be substantial to hide. Well, I mean, they don't have to hide it. Rum is legal in Limsa. So there's like distilleries in multiple places. I mean, we also know that wine there's wine produced in wine port. As well as ale produced in ale port and rum there. So if we look at the map, right? In Western Lenosia, well, I guess can't see anything right now, but you have ale port where there's a lot that's produced and where a lot of trade of alcohol comes in. And then you also have the vineyards of wine port, which I can't, yeah, there we go, is right here in Eastern Lenosia and does a lot of trade with Costa del Sol, which is part of why most people that we see who are super into wine are all people who go to Costa del Sol, most of who are not actually Limsans. A lot of them are from Ul'dah. And where's the sugar grown? That's a great question. The sugar could probably be grown... Limsa, Vilbrand as a whole has the... We'll make sure to keep an eye out to see if maybe like the Summerford Farms or something has a reference to it. But you can imagine that Limsa has the ability for it. We should go to look up sugar or cane sugar and at the market board, and we might get an idea from that. Limsa also carries plenty for eating good food as well. Sandwich, rum, wine steaks. Now one botanist specializes in providing sugar. Is this a leave? I think there's at least one. I'm going to skip forward a little bit. Sorry for anyone I missed. The Wanderer's Palace is named after Eorzean. Yep. By the way, if you're doing each expansion jobs, you're going to buy job skips. No, I'll level them maybe off stream as like a side thing or something. Or maybe I'll just stream that in my off time. I don't mind leveling them. My sister, yeah, just kick off them thigh-high boots. Okay, so what's in all those bottles? These bottles is mostly ale, rum, and wine. These bottles specifically are probably not wine. They might be, but we know for a fact that ale and rum are also housed in bottles like this. And this establishment is meant to be for the common man, which means that ale and rum is far more likely because wine is a little bit more of the expensive drink for the region. I'm not a fan of thigh-high boots because in real life they take forever to take off. It's freaking true. Like, calf is fine, but Jesus, man. Okay, a glance finds several glucose sources from places like the Peaks, the First, the Shroud, but I don't see any from Vilbrand. So then it probably makes sense that they probably import it from likely not the Peaks at this point in time because of Alamigo being annexed. So we'd have to assume the Shroud. We also could wonder if maybe because of its climate, there is sugars grown in Thavnair as well, but we just don't know of it. Because not everything is labeled as an item. But if we know for sure the Shroud has it, then at least that's something. Right then, let's start ye off nice and easy with 3 tasks. What'll help you get used to life here in Limsa. Firstly, a head down the floor, then point your nose to the west. You'll get an eyeful of the great glowing crystal in the middle of the courtyard. That's an Aetherite, a device what can move you from one place to another in the blink of an eye. Ain't no swifter way to travel, providing there's an Aetherite where you wanted to go, of course. Have a chat with the Yellow Jackets on guard there, and you'll be treated to a lecture on the working of the device. For you do that, though, remember to touch the thing. Strange as it sounds, it won't work till you have. Second on the list is the marketplace. You'll find weapons and armor, all your veteran bits, and pieces for sale in the district, what lies beyond the Aetherite. Don't go throwing your gill around just yet, though, or you'll get fleeced quicker than you can say, why is me coin purse so light? Have a word with Swazblade. Instead, he's the head of the Merchants League, by the way. Give him the old octant and I'll treat you well. For the last, For the last me helpful ints, I suggest ye meet some of the fellow axe wielders of the Marauders Guild. I guarantee you'll learn a few new tricks for swinging the head splitting of yours if you join their crew. Blathota at the front desk is the one to get you started. Got all that, lad? Seeing to them, the 3 tasks take you on a little jaunt round the city and help you work out everything, where everything is. Now, I'd best be getting on. Run along now. Bugger it. There I go sending you off without telling you summit crucial. That bloody calamity's made a right mess of me memory, I swear. Well, that or the ale. Any road. While you're out, if you appears to pass any port sods would look like they might need your help. Consider giving their tale of woes a listen, eh? Sounds like a chore, I admit, but you never know what interesting opportunities could be lurking out there, just waiting for you to stumble on them. For example, Ninia over yonder's been casting glances at you since you waltzed in. Why not lend an ear? See what she has to say. Aye, you're like to find yourself. Running odd errands in the beginning, but once you build up a reputation as a man folk can trust, the jobs will get harder and the rewards will get more generous. If you the time, I also seek the advice of the Smith over there, the wench. The lads as they bear that title have some fine advice for them what are just starting out in their profession. And that, my lad, is how you go about becoming a legend among adventurers. That's the Sprout guy. I don't need to. I know how to play warrior. I'll be okay. Sugar from other sources as well. Sugar beets, honey. Yeah. Okay, you guys ended up talking about honey. Make sure to get skills from the job quest. Thank you, super. Honey is a mob drop, right? Yep, and there's all those beeves in the shroud. I'm sure you guys already said that. Raincatcher Gully seems a good place to harvest the raw stuff due to the climate. Totally. There are bees and like, so it's very plausible source. Yep. Hives, but honey is crafted from beehive chips. Yes. We kill bees all over 2.0. Just wondered if we have commercial set up somewhere with the beekeeper. There's something when we get to Gridania, there's something I need to check for that, because I know there is at least one quest or fate where it's explicit that there is a beekeeper and that keeps bees and collects honey. Good lord, the piratey talk hurts my brain. I don't know how you do it. I don't know how I'm doing it. I'm not doing it right. Yeah, and the 12's bud. Honey is an excellent antiseptic for your mouth, also for sore throats. Everyone's just talking about honey. I usually think of honey as mead. Brothers drink that. So now I'm wondering the commercial source of that. Yeah. I know some bars do sell mead in the game. Yes, they do. Seems like the Shroud has so many good sources of alcohol ingredients, unsurprisingly. Mead is amazing. Of course Cal loves mead. I have a saying I like to quote that covers the efficacy of potions. Candy is dandy, but liquor is quicker. Willy Wonka. Okay, AC. Jay, I think my legs are becoming numb. Have you tried standing up? I'm told that helps. Maybe also at some point we'll do streams for the side quests. In the meantime, though, let's actually get somewhere in the MSQ. Okay, if I'm free to go now, I'm just gonna... Wait. Why can't you use lift? Heading down soon before you start galloping, I'll let you use the lift soon enough. Leave around, you must accept the quest name, but... Oh, come on, I have to accept the side quest? Come on, Nia. Talk to me. Or actually, you're a male, aren't you? Well, would you look at this? A shiny new adventure. Listen close, lad. I've seen information that... Okay, I'm definitely doing a high voice for all the LFL. This will be fun. Well, would you look at this? A shiny new adventure. Listen close, lad. I've seen information that might just help put you on the map here in Limsa. I was passing through the Bulwark Hall below not long ago and saw a bunch of herbs just scattered about on the ground. Now, I'm not entirely certain, but I think I might have been the back market wares, known as dream flowers. Limsa is a busy port, and not all the merchants that blow in across the strait are above board, if you know what I mean. How'd the plants end up in the mizzenmast? Who knows? Might have been a deal gone bad. The important thing is you make a name for yourself by handling them. Speak to Skainrail, and she'll get you down to the first floor, and then all you have to do is pick up the herbs and take them to Aldskift at the Octaint. Being a worldly captain, he knows a thing or two about such shady goods. I would put out the dream flowers, for instance, also show up in Thanalin, or in Ul'dah, in and around Ul'dah. I don't know that they harvest from there, but so we know that goods are often traded between the world. We also know that, like, we know for a fact from leaves and other stuff that goods come from, tons of stuff comes from the 12's Wood through Hydaelyn, through Ul'dah, through Western Hydaelyn and Scorpion's Crossing onto Horizon, and gets to Vesper Bay, and from Vesper Bay across the Strait of Merlthor, and a lot of that stuff is all taken to Limsa and the Vilbrand as a whole. So it's not surprising that a lot of goods end up there. You wish to visit the bulwark hall below. The crow's lift is ready when you are. 2.0, no side quests outside 1 with third quest is like 46 hours. Yeah, it's a fuck ton. We're definitely not. That would be like its own thing. You'll see in a bit. Oh, dream flowers. Lalafels should have crazy deep voices. Changed my mind. Sometimes I confuse some Lalafels in the game as the opposite gender. I really can't tell at times. Is this a common thing in canon? It's not a super common thing in canon, but I know other players who have that issue. They do in the JP dub. Some are crazy deep. Okay. So I'm going to oscillate between high-pitched voices and crazy deep voices based on what's most humorous. The 2.0 MSQ, 2.55 job quest, etc. is so much more. Yeah, it's the side quest is crazy, and the side quest quality in a realm 2.0 to 2.55 and even on to 3.0 is not great. It's okay, but it's not great. But there is a lot of good lore there, and so like for me, it's worth doing for that reason. So I'll have to replay them because there might be interesting things I relearn. Okay. Oh god, seeing everyone's name is going to drive me crazy. Well, here, let's alt skiff. Yay, I'm alt skiffed and you have some herbs you wish me to examine. Yes, as you suspected, these are highly illegal blooms known as dream flowers. They are prime ingredients in the creation of somnus, a substance whose fragrance is said to lull the sniffer's mind into sleep of death. Forgive me, I could not resist the jest. These herbs are not more than Ulthic's lavender, a common enough export from Limsa Lominsa. In fact, these probably spilled from a crate that were loaded onto my very own ship. I think someone has been having a bit of fun with you, son. But not to worry, you learned a few things and made a new acquaintance. Well met. I'm sure... Yeah, I'm going to turn that off. I think I'm just going to worry about it probably after stream when I set up all this stuff. My normal... yeah, so Somnus never comes back in under any context. It's totally not relevant. Gotta duck out, stop derailing chat, but really pumped to see what you glean from the redoing all this. Thanks, Chris. Thank you so much for hopping in. Love your channel, love your work. Yeah, keep doing what you're doing, and super excited to see what you guys have coming out next. Do the Lala names in game follow the typical naming standard? That's a way to tell them apart, right? Yep, Cal, that is the easiest way to tell what gender they are, if you know the Lalafell naming convention. That's usually how I do I can look at most races' names and be able to tell them apart because all of them are gendered in some way. Well, a little less so, but pretty much. Somnus reminds me of 15 City Insomnia and subsequently King Somnus. Same root. I think someone have been having... I mean, Final Fantasy loves its Latin. Yeah. Yes. Super. Somnus very much does pop up later in Hydaelyn for all of those... I mean, you guys know. It has to do with certain poisonings. So saying even considering doing the side quest is bold. I mean, I'm here for the long run, man. I'm here to do it all. Another novice adventurer. Aye, Baderon has sent more than a few of your kind this way of late. I'm Sundmal, one of the Yellow Jackets tasked with keeping the peace in the city. It is also my charge to provide guidance in the use of this device. Fear not, I shall be brief. So for instance, you can see by Roganin names what gender they are, and you can also see whether they're Seawolves or Hellsguard. Because these guys have traditional Air Salanti names, you can tell by what they are. Aetherites are crystalline structures that tap into ethereal energies. They're primarily used as a means to travel swiftly from one place to another. They're also basically like lighthouses within the ethereal sea, so when you teleport yourself, they are a point to which you can be drawn, else you'll be lost in the ethereal sea if you just teleport wildly. And as these devices are found in almost every corner of Eorzea, any adventurer worthy of the name will wish to seek out and attune himself to each one. Once you've expanded your horizon beyond the walls of the city, you will soon find yourself performing the act of attunement as a matter of course. There is, however, no need for unseemly haste. The Aetherite found in and around the city will be sufficient for present, I assure you. Should you wish to learn more about Aetherites or transportation magic, I will be here to answer your questions. Yeah, Somnus is more prevalent in Hydaelyn, but the important thing here is the fact that we're referencing it across these things, right? That building an interconnected world is what I love. I'm still staring at Bateron. Help. Why are you still staring at Bateron? Can I tell Ro apart by names? Of course. Whether or not they have a crush me mommy energy. Okay, Cal. I see you're evoking the Saerene while Saerene's gone. I'm past Bateron, Jay, I think. I already left Bateron. A fine morning to you, sir. Welcome to the most replete marketplace in the grand realm of Eorzea, where every shelf groans under the weight of wonders born from all four corners of the world. Pray, browse the stalls until your eyeballs ache from oogling the overabundance of unbelievable bargains. Now, as much as I would love to elaborate upon the unrivaled quality of our merchandise, I must tend to some cargo, but recently arrived at the docks. You bear a gift from Bateron? Whatever could it... Ah! My octant! By the navigator! I must have left it behind in the wench, along with a week's pay and several bells worth of intoxicating memories. Any interesting lore? Nope. Just what it is. Exactly. Need someone with that energy. Fine. Gotta bop someone who's being horny. Didn't people used to confuse Merlwyb with Eorzean in 1.0 before Rogan became playable? I did not know that was a thing. That's, I guess. I am most grateful to have it back. The tool is a keepsake from my days as a ship captain, you see. Needless to say, your good deeds must be repaid. It is simple and sturdy adventure equipment you seek. You need look no further than the east and west arms of Hawker's Alley. Lest you doubt each gil you invest in armor will be money well spent. Adventuring is, after all, a dangerous profession by its very nature. As we will find out with our first dungeons, and the sad story in the background for those. It goes without saying that Hawker's Alleys boast stalls specializing in the tools of every martial discipline imaginable. And with but a few steps are bazaar and apothecaries that will most amply supply all your potions and perishable needs. Our keen-eyed agents procure a frankly befuddling range of wares during their sojourns to distant shores, so it pays to become familiar with the type and price of the goods offered by each stall. Such knowledge will serve you well if your purse is light or your time short. But verbal instructions of this kind will only profit you so much. Experience has ever been the surest teacher, if not the kindest. I will invite you to explore the markets, for sure. Left behind in the wench. Yeah, you left it behind. Dude, all these people are drinking. If there's one thing I can assure you, it's they're drinking, she's drinking, they're drinking, they're drinking. All these players are probably drinking. It's Limsa, baby. It's Limsa. Oh god, my usual button for sprint actually makes your camera look backwards. Oh, actually, this will be a good time to stop off at the, Am I crazy? Oh, that's why. I'm gonna stop off at the mail in the box so I can grab a mount. Oh, no, not the airship. Oh, there's a fun fact about the wench I want to cover. I think Bateron says it. Oh, you don't have options. I wonder if you only get those later. Or can I talk to Rimumu? Yeah, wait. No. Nope. Okay. I guess you can only do it later. Well, there's some fun facts about the Drowning Wench that are worth covering. Yeah, I don't know what's up. Well, I don't know if you can't stand or I'm not sure what the problem is. But let's do the Marauder part. Even if you pick up a mount, you won't be able to use it until you unlock Chocobo. Yeah, but it's worth happening. Is that true, Ren? It's been so long, I've utterly forgotten what it's like without having the ability to ride a mount. I just thought you couldn't fly. It's been so freaking long. I was in such a different place in my life. It would be suspicious if you didn't go to the bar to drink more often than not. Unfortunately, I'm not a drinker in real life and in game, so I would be rather sus, wouldn't I? Indeed. Oh, right, they're downstairs. To compensate for height, are Lalafels more dense? Is that why they can hit so hard despite stature? So there's a lot of arguments for why that's the case. Imagine that a warrior Lalafell, right, is using agility over raw strength. So they're weaker than a Rogadin, but they're able to do certain skillful things. Maybe that's like how you can rationalize that. That we know of, they aren't necessarily particularly dense, and their weight is not... like, it's not an entire Hur in a smaller body, or an entire Rogadin in a smaller body. And part of the way that we know that is from... the way in which Raban carries Nanamo around. Oh, is it not down here? God, back to the beginning. Nope, none at all until you get the unlock Grand Companies. Thanks, Ren. That's good to know that ahead of time. Now you can't write map for a while. It's so annoying. So many of you know. So many of you have had this pain more recently. Oh, Blau Thoda, that's why. So, Thoda. So, all Rogadin women had their names end in one of 7 words, and Thoda is one of them. So, even without looking at this, I can know that that's a female Rogadin. And it is. Ho there, adventurer. Curious about the Marauders Guild, are ye? Any axe worth swinging needs 2 hands on the haft, and has a blade that can make short work of Gallery's mast. That's the kind of weapon our members train to use with deceptive swiftness and all to predictable force. Are you interested in hearing more, lad? Then why don't I give you the short version of the guild's founding history, and we can go from there. It all started with ships, you see. What have ships got to do with axes, you ask? Well, building them would be pretty bloody difficult without a sturdy tool to lop down trees for lumber. And since only the navigator herself knows when a ship will run foul of storm or worse, it makes sense for the crew's carpenter to carry an axe on board. Aye, it all started with shipbuilding and ship repair. What? Am I boring you? No, give us the lore. As I was saying, any tool on a ship can become a weapon, and the axe was pretty for hooking yourself over the rail of an enemy vessel, letting loose a whirl of steel, and generally laying waste to all about ye. As more seafarers took up the axe as their weapon of choice, so did this bloody art of the marauder begin to take shape, especially among pirates, where strength and skill decided your place in the world. With an eye to assembling crews of battle-ready raiders, the pirates started teaching the proper way to wield a chopping blade to their new recruits, and that's how the Marauders Guild first came to be. But once the Gladian Accord was signed to unite the Maelstrom and the pirates against Limsan enemies, the whole game changed. The Accord itself was a dismal failure, of course, but the Marauders Guild was never the same. It was taken over, restructured, and purged of its pirate elements. It had been reborn as an institution dedicated to naught but the teaching of axe fighting. The members of the new Marauders Guild weren't no greed-driven cutthroats neither. They were all warriors what sought to use their martial prowess for the good of society. If mastering the axe is your heart's desire, then you'll find no better arena in which to practice your swings. Think it over then. Let me know if you fancy joining our ranks. I have a feeling I'll be seeing more of you soon, lad. You decided to swing an axe with the Marauders then? Accept that? Yeah. Alright then. All you need's doing now is speak with the axe master himself. Sounds simple. Sounds simple? I've seen folks slink out the door rather than put themselves on the path of that unnerving glare. That bloke right over there in the middle of the room. Wernzone. His name put to some steel in your spine, and look him straight in the eye when you talk to him, lad. Good fortune to you. The mounts are tied to the Grand Company, so you will get your chocobo to start walking. Henceforth, he shall walk. So it has been since the beginning of the adventure. Thanks, Kellen. Yeah, thanks, Icy. Well, when I started a new character recently at level 15, I walked from South Shroud to Waking Sands because I couldn't stand not being able to glance. Walking and running sucks early game. Yeah. Aren't there the chocobo rental things? Yes, but you have to have already connected them. You have to have gone to a place. It's basically like an Aetherite. It's a weird system in and of itself. Sadly, it's near midnight here in Britain, so I have to go to bed. Thanks for the stream. Thanks for joining, Tracy. Chocobo porters aren't for rent. They're like a taxi service. It's convenient and cheap, but not if you're saving Gil. Glad I can catch the stream. I think chocobo rentals unlock at level 10 or 11, something like that. Yeah. We do have to do at least the beginning of this.
Yes, I'm Wernzone, Axe Master they call me. Not the most imaginative of titles. I agree, but one should not underestimate the value of directness. I welcome your interest in our guild. The art of the Marauder is used to rend, to cleave, and to destroy. It is not our way to simply outfit our adversaries. We seek to overwhelm them. A Marauder must be the most powerful and enduring presence on the battlefield. We must account for the most enemies defeated. Our roles in the combat is that of Steel Whirlwind, dealing death and destruction without equal. No doubt the question has already been put to you by Blothota, but once more I shall challenge your commitment. Are you prepared for the bloody carnage that awaits in an initiate of the Marauders Guild? Let's do it! Very well. Your name? Attend me well then, Elio. Hold fast to these moments of dedication. The path of the Marauder is jagged and a perilous one. The blood that spills at your feet will oftentimes be your own. You stand now at the student of the axe. Let us waste no time in testing the edge of your chosen weapon. You shall wade straightway into combat as befits a novice of our discipline. Go forth and slay the beating, scurrying, crawling pests that plague the outskirts of Limsa. Lost lambs, wharf rats, and little ladybugs shall be your piteous adversaries this day. Return to me once 3 of each creatures have fallen to your blade. The nod. The famous nod. Wouldn't you drown in such heavy armor if you fall overboard? Yes. You either better hope you're a really good swimmer, or that I don't know, you don't worry about. You're so good at fighting, you don't worry about falling overboard. There you go. Lol, I looked away. I was hoping this voice would be a Lalafell. The head of the guild sounds like a like Cookie. I don't even know. Me like cookies. Me give you axe power. Me show you the way of Marauder. Are you ready for the way of Marauder?
Cookie Monster? I say you should give him George Washington's voice from Fairly Odd Parents. Must chop wood. I really don't remember George. I don't remember him. His voice. Like, I remember the character, but I do not recall his voice in the slightest. I'll have to search that later. Let's hit the quest. Ah, there you are, Elio. And you're jaunt around the city, did you? And you mean to base yourself in Lominsa. That won't be the last time you visit them 3 places. And now you've got some idea what's where. You can start exploring the rest of the town. And you've shown a good ear for listening, lad. Stick with old Bateron and you'll go far. Mother Mione. I'm assuming I need to go level is the problem, so let's go do the way of the Marauder. If any of you are following along, feel free to shout out in the chat. I know that Jay is. She's around here somewhere. I just saw her. I'd socialize a bit more, but we are probably well over an hour in at this point, and I am not even to... I have not even done combat yet. Let's put it at that. Oh, I should have read that. This is the little horned one that asked to assist them by delivering messages. At first we were wary of showing ourselves, worried that once you might catch and skin us, like you do every other forest furry. But once we saw how much we were appreciated, we knew we found our new calling. And personally promised to try and not read any along the way, Kupo. I am also from the UK, so I can't say. Well, thanks for showing up, Super Sideswiper, and thank you for the donation. I really, really appreciate it. Look what we have here. 20 new letters have arrived just for you, Kupo. I need to get my earring at the very least, because 1, experience, and 2... that's like my signature thing. Anything? No, these I can all worry about these later. Yeah. Oh, actually I should take that. That's the Aetherite. Where did it go? Just a second ago I saw it. For fuck's sake. There we go. That was more painful than it needed to be. Let's use the mounts and minions. Okay. And now we're off to go on Moradin, so we need to exit Limsa. So let's go to Lower Lenosia. I remember Moogles from Monster Hunter World and the crossover event. That was long before I got into 14. Oh yeah, was that the first time you ever experienced Moogles? That's funny and a little bit backwards, but really cool. What was the first time I ever experienced a Moogle? Either Lulu's doll from Final Fantasy X or Kingdom Hearts 1, the Koopos from that. The Moogles from that. I'd also comment on Lalafell power when Aether can be used for strength, and Lalas have a lot of Aether, though I do agree on agility and deftness rather than brute strength. Yeah, you could assume that the ethereal ability of a Lalafell must be comparable to most other people despite having a smaller body, so they could augment their power in some way. I mean, canonically, though, part of it is that most Lalafell do occupy roles that are more magic and like magic prowess based rather than physical, like canonically. But, you know, there are people like Pippin, right? Like Pippin is a powerful fighter and has won many bouts in the arena, in the Colosseum. We don't know if he's quite Raban's equal, but he's up there. Lulu, that was going to be my guess, yeah. The thing is that you don't start out with, I don't think you start out with the Moogle as her, or maybe you do. I forget what you start out with her as her primary. Oh, I should equip my earring. There we go. Now I look lovely with my feather in my cap and also my earring. Let's hide that though, because I actually hate helms. Oh boy, my first fate. When the wheat farmers of Lower Lenosia were losing large portions of their crops to locusts, they turned to Melvain's Gate, who introduced Sedale's cane. Oh! We get to tell Chris, the Sedales, that's where the cane comes from. The Sedales are the island chains that's south of Vilbrand. I can't wait to... Oh, fuck. I'm so sad that he left, but we have an answer now to where the cane sugar comes from. I'm glad I did this fate. And that makes a ton of sense, because the Sedales are basically... They're south, so they're even a little bit more, not tropical, but even nicer. I went out to the gates in Morabee Bay in Lower Lenosia. Or, yeah. Yeah, I need to go to middle in order to get the last guys. Can someone message me in the Discord or something to remind me to tell Chris that we solved his sugar problem? Because I'm actually really happy that we have an answer to that, and I totally forgot this about the Sedales because they're only referenced in items and in the map. They are... Why don't I just pull up the map and show you guys? They are this island chain right here. Funny how the game provides the answer you seek. I mean, that's why we're replaying. That's why we're, studying lore. Actually, speaking of, I'm gonna go grab my notebook real quick so I can remember little interesting things like this. Oh. I'm just gonna open a Google Doc. That's way easier. So give me 1 second. Yeah, but there's this dailies here. Talking about cane sugar. Okay, the MSQ lore replay notes. Okay. Only I could get super excited about finding out where cane sugar is from a random set of small islands. Like, this is the most, like, esoteric ass shit for this game. Cool. And back to you guys. Funny how the game provides the answers. I get so lost in Limsa. You found me. I am now also traveling back down to Lower Limsa, although I need to make sure I get the Aft Castle teleportation point. Done. I tagged you. Thank you, Ren. Very much appreciated it. Easier doesn't make it as gratifying as opening a notebook full of notes. That's true, Zan. That is really true. My only worry is things getting destroyed. The other benefit of, as cool as notebooks are, the benefit of the Google Doc is if I need to quickly Control F something for a video, I can. Whereas if it's a notebook, you can't Control F real life. As much as that, I wish you could. Does anybody else remember the old Aetherite teleporting system where you just had the list of Aetherites and you had to know what they were? This new system is just so much freaking better. True, I always have a physical notebook when I play D&D because it's so satisfying. Yeah, it really is. I'll have to debate on that. Shame the Unending Codex doesn't cover older content like this in Aram Reborn. Yeah, the Unending Codex is weird. The Unending Codex is very odd because... I don't blame them. They're trying to create tools for people to be able to start post 6.0. But it's... I guess here's the thing about a lot of the like ancillary knowledge and stuff like this, is it's actually important that they don't overload people, because all that really needs to get across is the primary MSQ points. Else they're gonna overwhelm people and they'll just give up, stop playing at all. Whereas if at least they get into the game, maybe they'll go back and play a Realm Reborn to Endwalker, even if they started out at 7.0. Here, so let's do a party. That way we can at least share XP. Oh, you brought a level 70. Okay, maybe less so. It's fine. I wish you can Control F life. Oh man, yeah. This is the lore minutia I live for. Good, for real. You're just a pocket healer. Okay, that'll work. We can work with that. Thanks, Jay. Power, I do. Actually, you can nowadays scan a document notebook and have it digitally converted. That's true, Zan, but there's one problem that you've discounted. In order for that to work, because I've used that before, you have to have good handwriting, which I do not. I have very terrible handwriting, and trying to write quickly while streaming, while also trying to get to all the lore stuff and learning at the same time, not great. And also, prone to maybe a spelling error here or there that the machine is so confused by that they don't even know what word it's supposed to be. That has happened once. So, tough choices all around. Gooboo! It's so weird not having to press the button to sync level. I'm so used to having to press that. I'm just doing some fates for the XP, and also in case there's interesting lore. The Rogue River has become a breeding ground for the giant carnivorous fish known as pugils. Help clear the shallows so the local fish can cast their lines in relative peace. So fun fact, these guys have like a bladder inside of them that is aspected with air ether, which is what allows them to float, hover like this. Lol, your terrible handwriting. It's kind of hilarious. Computer confusion amused me. Yeah. You know, that's very fair. Yeah, no, but it's a really good point, Zan. And I may yet do it just because it is so satisfying to have that book. Maybe what I might do too is, especially because we've done End Talkers, and by the time I get there to Shadowbringers, we'll probably have done Shadowbringers for, we'll probably call it Lorebringers, for, you know, our version of End Talkers for Shadowbringers. I'll already know those a little bit better, so it won't matter as much if I do it that way. I'll consider that. Oh, actually, let's go to the Southern Farms. Yeah, Southern Four Farms, real quick, because I want to see if we can find any indication about some of the things that they grow. All thick lavender that you can see all over here, which is funny because the all thick symbol is actually outside of Amdapor Keep, and the symbol around here, well, I guess it's technically in Western Lenosia, or no, not Western, Lower Lenosia, is Nymea's symbol. So I would have thought it would have been like a Nymean lily would be common to the region. But I guess lavender makes sense. I mean, and also repeatedly, there's a bunch of times where the symbols where they're located of the 12 don't make any real sense. But I'll also point them out as if we go to maps that have the stones of the 12, if you haven't seen them before. Wait, hang on, they have air bladders? Yeah, basically, what amounts to air bladders. I just note that when Fates mention small folk, they typically mean commoners or peasants and not Lalthal. Boral, that is true, and thank you for pointing it out. There's some oranges or tangerines. Yeah, they do not mean literally small folk. I started right before 5.0 dropped. There was major changes to crafting gathering in 5.1, major changes to MSQ along with teleport tickets to Waking Sands and flying in a Realm Reborn zones in 5.3. Yeah, Power, that must have been such an interesting time to join because simultaneously you're on the vanguard of these good changes, the quality of life changes, but you're also close enough that you get to see some of what came before. I joined at the tail end of Stormblood in such a way that I was still around when TP was a thing. And that was a different world. I was around before Tank Stance existed. And I know there's some of you in the chat who are also like who have been around since like 1.0 or 2.0. So it's not like, but some of you are like, yeah, that was like most of the game's history. But for me, it was the dark times. Yeah, looks like the main thing is those tangerines that we see. Though I know that there is for sure more lore in and around. I'm going to talk to some of the NPCs real quick, see if there's anything of interest that they can tell us. The fish are full of farts. Oh, Zan. Fair enough. You saw your shot and you took it. Oh no, TP, I didn't have to deal with that, but oh my god, the stories. Yeah. The game was worse for it. It's good that TP is gone. Lenosian oranges are chock full of nutrients and are sweet tasting to boot. They're vital to keeping scurvy at bay, too. You'd think men who had been away at sea would appreciate the value of fresh fruit, but these villains care only for coin. Well met, adventurer. All seasons have their place, but Summerford was named after the one that suits her best. What kind of place is this? The orchard here is part of the Admiral's initiative to outlaw piracy and put us erstwhile buccaneers to work to reclaim the land. I did know that because that's an EE1. The lawmakers have offered to buy our yields at a fair price, once we learn the way of getting the plants to flourish. The Gurkint over there, he's a master botanist, but there's only so much he can teach us. If the farm is truly to succeed, my blokes need to forget the ocean and bend their backs to work before them. What do you do here? Well, lad, it's my job to see that the orchards run smoothly. Used to be that I was captain of my own pirate ship, but the calamity saw an end to that. After I lost my vessel, I dragged my crew kicking and screaming here to begin a new life on the land. The Admiral had been getting tough on any sort of piracy, so I thought my boys would have an easier time of it here. For most of them, though, it seems the smell of soil can't ever compete with the briny sea air. Yeah. The push and pull of people trying to move past piracy is an important part of 2.0, and it remains an important thing in the background for Limsa, but it comes to a real head for the modern and new world with 5.4, that's for sure. Oh, I should pick up that quest just... no. Let's do no side quests that I don't have to do, and we can just do them for streams or something. Maybe a patron stream, or I don't know. Okay, Marauder's ready, so I'm gonna... Let's go ahead and do this fate, and then we will go do go back to the Marauders thing. During the Calamity, many bands of pirates lost their ships to either Garlean attacks or the flames of Bahamut. Most found new crews to join, but those who didn't simply turned to banditry on land. Use your blades to convince the lads it's high time they seek new employment. That's actually really interesting. I hadn't considered that the Calamity would have destroyed a lot of the ships. I actually had to fight as a gatherer. It's slow, but far faster than switching jobs, so you can speed through quests. Wow. I remember having to level Archer to 15 to get Black Mage because you needed cross-class skills. Oh my god, cross-classing. When I started, there was a different types of glam prisons. Oh, I forgot about those. Oh my god, those were disgusting. They technically were still in the game when I was around. They just, like, kept trying to make them less and less in the game. Yeah, if you think the glamour system is bad now, it was worse. I know that's hard to believe, but it was worse. Okay, voice is loud, so voice is good. I remember when they let you fly in a Realm Reborn locations without Aether Current hunting? Wait, is there Aether Currents now in a Realm Reborn? Man, I remember when you couldn't fly in a Realm Reborn at all. That was back in my day. Scurvy is a uniquely human problem. I recently found out most other mammals can produce their own vitamin C. Well, we know Rogadin suffer from it. And we know the Miqo'te can suffer from it. So I'd have to assume that all the 5 races of Eorzea can all suffer from it as well. But that is interesting and good to know. And also a fun fact for real life. So thanks, Sam. Except guinea pigs can't produce vitamin C either, apparently, are kindred rodents. I had a guinea pig once that got scurvy. And she ended up being fine, but it was simultaneously very sad and very cute. Okay, let's... And I want to make a note. What do you mean unable to execute command? Oh, I'm in battle. Did I not attune myself? No, I did, because of that quest. Do I just not have money? Maybe it's because I don't have money. That must be it. No, because I have the... Yeah, I have no fucking clue. That's fine. I'll run to Limsa while I talk to you lovely folks. Yeah, I remember getting my Archer to 15. No. No glams till level 50. No AR zones get flying and slay with 2.0 is clear. Okay, that's how it's done. Wait, what, are you serious? Poor guinea pig. Oh my god, yeah. She's very cute. She lived a long and good life. Her name was Merlin. She was orange. Sorry, I meant they let you fly, but they didn't have but you didn't have to find Aether Currents. In a Realm Reborn, you had to move around the hard way. Yes. What is your main class you play as? On my main, it's currently Paladin. During Shadowbringers, it was Dark Knight, and it's funny because them being the poster boys for those expansions was kind of a little bit of the reason for the choice, but it also was just I'm a tank main, so I play all the tanks a lot. And during 5.x, I really loved Shadowbringers or Dark Knight, and during 6.0, I kind of fell out of love with Shadowbringers because I fell out of love with Dark Knight because Dark Knight's in a weird place. But I fell in love with Paladin because Paladin is just, currently it's just so good. I'm so ready in 7.0 that it's probably going to get scuffed in some way, and it'll happen, and that's fine. But currently, I love it. It's just so good. No, okay, I don't know why I couldn't teleport to it. Whatever, that's fine. Aft Castle, Marauders Guild. My shock when I found out I don't just get flying after ARR. Yeah, that's got to be a mixed blessing, right? Because it's on the one hand that sucks. On the other hand, at least you had an ARR, whereas for some of us, we never had it the entire time we were playing ARR. You've returned to me different. It's Cookie Monster. Okay. Me love cookies. You return to me different man. Already your face shows harder cast, a realization of a slaughter of which you are capable. But there is much training to be done before you will wield the axe to its fullest potential. Learn well your lessons, build your strength, and make of each swing an instinctive act. You shall have this hunting log to aid you in your endeavors. Its pages are marked with its opponents suitable for honing your skills. There are, of course, myriads of methods by which you might improve your techniques, but when the way forward is not readily apparent, the log provides a reliable source of challenges. Every blow of your weapon will clear another step towards the mastery of Marauder Way. Implacable, relentless,
Such must be your momentum on both the practice grounds and the battlefield. Elio, you approach me with marauder stride, determined, unswerving, and bereft of the hesitation that has marked us at our first meeting. I am pleased. For cookies. The time has come to you for the begin a new stage of your training. Now what sets the axe aside from the gladius or the dagger? It is the raw, unstoppable destruction wrought by its thick, heavy blade. It's a little suggestive. And that overwhelming power can only be properly directed by extraordinary physical strength. Thus, we have come to the core of today's lesson. Such strength as a marauder must possess is developed through a traditional method passed down through the generations of the guild, a method that you too shall be taught to employ. Present yourself to Broenbar in the practice area downstairs, and he shall instruct you further. Well, it's a good thing I fucking got the summer forward Aether. Oh, I fucking... Cool. Went all the way to Summerford. Forgot to actually grab the Aetherite. We talked to the guy about the lore. We found out about the Linosian oranges. That's the important stuff. Speaking of, I need to make a note. Cool. Let me pull chat back up. What? The only thing I can accurately predict for the next 7.0 expansion is that the name in it will have a suffix. Yeah, I think you're right, but watch them still somehow surprise us, AC. I don't think it's this, but I would love it if it was something like Empire's End or something like that, because the idea of dealing with Empire's Legacy if we go to Mericidia, if it's a 7.0 is Mericidia. And, I mean, most of y'all know my thoughts on one of the next jobs is definitely Geomancer. If we go to Mericidia or the New World, it makes a lot of sense. And if we don't get an next expansion, I will put money down that we do get Geomancer at some point, just no question. The Axe Master told me you'd be on your way. My name's Broenbar. Good to meet you. Good to meet a new marauder. Now, we axe wielders build strength and control by splitting boulders. That's right. Our traditional method involves smashing a rock with your axe. But you can't just use any old swing. You need to hit the rock. Just so. Rotgeem, a fellow marauder, is waiting just outside the Zephyr Gate by the bridge over the Rogue River. She'll tell you how it's done. So Geem is one of the words that's also a female Seawolf Rogue, and his name can end in, so. Can you do a Yoda impression? That sounded close to being Yoda. Pretty good, actually. I feel like I could. I don't think I could do the vocal patterns would be the thing. Like, I get the, no, try, only do. Like, I could talk like this, but I don't think I could, like, do his, like, methodology of speaking. Like the backwards forwards thing. To be fair, I was also the weirdo who was like, I'll just travel on the ground so I can understand the map. That changed quickly when I got to Heavenward and it's extra large maps. Yeah, at least Heavenward does a good job of splitting up the maps and pacing them, right? You only have one map you can fully explore and another map that's one half. And they do that for every expansion, right? Because you have, you can only do, at the beginning of Heavensward, you can do only half the Sea of Clouds. You can do all of, Kurth's Western Highland. Stormblood, you know, you've got the peaks and the fringes with the full and cut. You have in Shadowbringers, you have Amarang and, I'm just trying to say, my brain's saying Vilbrin, but Calusia, which actually, both of those are cut in half for your experience. And then Endwalker, you have Labyrinthos, and you have Thavnair, which again, both are kind of cut off, but you actually do go to Razat Han earlier, so it's kind of not. Ariel, oops. Not sure why oops, but glad to have you. No, you didn't attune. Yep. I'm going to attune to... I already got the Aft Castle. Oh, right. That was picking up the Marauder's Quest. Buy a hat before you go back some... I have a hat on. It's the XP hat. See? Friendship Circle. Didn't Geomancer originate from Othard? Yes. Yes, if you can classify also Hingashi as
part of Oathard, which I mean most people do, but just because it's a separate island, you know. But yes, Geomancer and its practices originate in Oathard. There could be a version of it though, also in the New World, but its practices are most tied to Doma and Hingashi, where in Doma, it's actually the founder of Doma was a Geomancer, and the Swallow's Compass, that whole like huge temple and dungeon, is a Geomancer's temple and his tomb. Sounds more like Kermit the Frog. Thanks, Ray. Also, yeah, you're probably right. It's hard being green. Are ninja magic and geomancers related? No, it means to be a level high fat. The XP hat is level 1. Why? Will I not have enough armor or something? Or will it like tell me that I need better equipment? Still in Limsa, are you, Elio? How'd you face the trip outside the city walls? I'd like to visit the orchard by the name of Summerford Farms. Ever heard of the place? The owner, Stalewern, is an old mate of mine. He's got himself a crew, only mostly reformed pirates. If you can't believe, and has been trying to bring a bit of life back to the fields after the calamity ruined the soil. He mentioned needing another hand or two, and your name sprang to mind. I gave you glowing recommendations, so make your way, you work hard and impress the bastard. You need directions? The place ain't hard to find. Just take the Zephyr Gate out of the old city and follow the road northeast. Are ninja magic and geomancers related? I mean, here's the thing. All forms of magic are a form of ethereal manipulation. The question is, does the aether come from within you, from ambient sources, or from more physical sources, which, I mean, no class really takes them from physical. So it's really, are you taking ambient aether, or are you taking aether from yourself? From there, it's just different forms of manipulation. The practices of the ninja are rooted historically in nothing that ties them to geomancers. Like, as much as they're both rooted in the history of... They're deeply rooted in Doman history. Geomancer practices, they draw their aether from the stars. Specifically, though, the star beneath your feet rather than the stars in the sky, whereas astrologians draw from the stars in the sky. Essentially, the same fundamental thing, but from a different context and a different purpose. Not quite a different purpose, but same different perspective. Ninjas don't. They don't draw their aether like that. Their abilities are also not formatted in purification, and they are, again, also not necessarily, like, they are elemental in a sense, but they're not driven by their being fundamental in... How do I put this? They're not so much shamanistic as an expression of raw energy that is destructive and therefore is useful to the abilities of a ninja. Now, could you make an argument about, you know, the ties to both heaven, earth, and man with ninjas and their skills with the mudra and stuff? Maybe. In which case, you know, you're tying that to the star beneath our feet, so... and the stars of the sky, the heavens, and if you're drawing the energy from there, then that's something kind of correlated to Geomancer. But in every functional way that I can think of, I'd have to say that their practices are rooted in completely different things, though both fundamentally ethereal manipulation. But, I mean, every job's abilities are rooted in ethereal manipulation. There's a quest you have to have all left side level 5. Okay, cool. Then I will actually go back to Hawker's Alley real quick and grab that. Yeah, that's an annoying one, especially since cloaks that are body and hat and one don't count. You have to have a separate hat and chest piece. Even the cloak is better. Yeah, early gearing is a mess in this game. Like, partly it's because it doesn't want you to really care about it, but also it's just, there's so much legacy stuff left over and issues left over from 2.0, and even really in a lot of sense 1.0. Also, if you want to find out more about Seawolf Rogadin, I produced a video on everything about Rogadin recently. That is, I'm going to turn off the performance sound. That is a pretty deep dive into everything about Rogadin, from the Othardian ones, the Seawolves, the Hellsguard. I recommend checking it out. Retainer, Battlecraft. Battlecraft's gonna be weapons, right? No, okay, here we go. I'm 6. Let's go ahead and buy stuff for later. Actually, I don't have a lot of gil. I shouldn't buy stuff for later. Let's buy the hat. Let's go with eye patch. I'm not used to being poor. Actually, if that's going to be so little, I'm just going to eat that. Is everything else level 5? No, it's not. So, well, I'll wait to equip that till I get to the quest. So, let's catch up. Oh! Oh! Thank you very much, Jay. Okay, that's going to cover us for the entirety of this. Thank you very much. Let me pay you back on my main character after this. More gear. No, I don't want that. I want a 1-9. Oh, I'm going to look so fugly. I'm so used to when I get items on my main character, they go into this. So it's weird not having it set to that. I'm gonna equip. I can go ahead and equip this now. I was gonna say, to be honest, it's not that bad, but it's that bad. Which one's weapons? Isn't weapons actually further down? I think. Let's put. I'm an ultaholic. I've done this so many times. Ray, I trust you. If you say it's worth it, I literally only have one other alt that I play on at all, and it was only play on. It was literally only for like certain footage gathering things. It's literally not. It's not even. I don't even use it. So I'm super a person who has. I have one character and that's my character. This will be the first time that I'll have a real alt that I'll be putting a frick ton of time into. Okay. Oh, actually, let's grab the Hawker's Alley Aetherite. Yes, that's an annoying one, especially since the collected. That is old. Wasn't that one of the quests removed in 6.1? I don't know. I literally, if someone wants to get me a compiled list of every quest removed from A Realm Reborn since 2.0, because I would like to see like the ones that were removed during the 5.x like purge and the 6.x purge, but I would love to see like what was all removed. Praying one day Othardi and Rogadin will be playable. I think there's a good chance. Okay, I shouldn't say good chance. We are never going to get another race, but I think there's a chance that we will get more clans, because effectively clans are a palette swap. So I would not be surprised if we got Othardi and Rogadin as a choice. I would not be surprised, especially because other than like some custom facial features that are more here in nature, there's nothing about their like frame that necessarily needs to be changed. You can also already make Rogadin pretty Hurian. There's actually a Rogadin in Sharlayan. In I'm forgetting the name of it, but the research hall on the northwest side that is pretty heavily implied to be a half Hyur, half Rogadin, which I actually have a fun video coming up, hopefully next week, on about interbreeding in Final Fantasy XIV, or like interspecies and that whole thing. Greetings, lad. Ready to split some of stone, are you? I have 3 nice hard rocks for you to build up a sweat on. Don't try nothing fancy now. Just hit him with a good swing. A heavy swing. I will come and ride you to Vesper Bay at level 15, so you don't have to run around in subly if you want. Sure, Ren. No, I appreciate it very much. It's weird having streamer privilege, or I guess friends privilege, however you want to frame it. Ooh. Yep, random dice for starting gear. Ditto. I don't do alts normally. I literally started a new alt yesterday. Well, thanks for making one for North America, Jay. Appreciate it. Literally started a new alt yesterday, and she's 32 now. Ray. Why? Actually, no. Please, if you do use alts, Do tell. Why? Like, what is it about making alts that fulfills a fantasy or fulfills, like, what you get out of it? Because for me, I want a character that is, like, I want to do everything in the game, get all the collections. I'm partly, like, a collector in nature and disposition, but I also just, like, I don't enjoy having a bunch of different... I want my MSQ experience to be a very locked-in, specific character in my mind. That's also part of it. They're listed in the Final Fantasy XIV wiki. Thank you, Power. That much appreciated. Actually, I don't know if links are allowed, but if... actually, they'll be allowed in Discord. If someone wants to pass me that link on Discord, that would be very helpful. I played AR before they did the trimming for the quest. Pretty long, but I didn't mind. I had a lot of problems with The Realm Reborn, and part of that is because The Realm Reborn is relatively poorly paced with a lot of front-loading of information that retroactively becomes really interesting and fun, but early on is like, But the other thing is I was in a really bad place in my life at the time, and so I just had very little patience for games that... I was constantly afraid of things wasting my time and suffering from a lot of existential dread, so Realm Reborn was really difficult, but I made my way through, got to the end of 2.x, and that was... By the end... Into 2.x, I really was starting to get into it, and then 2.x to 2.55 is when I was like, well, I'm in for this road. Which I'm sure a lot of people were also like, oh shit. And I'll come back for that. I would like there to be a Mirror City and Mikote who are more feral since they rely on hunting to eat rather than trade. Makes sense. Or... Well, this doesn't really work because the G-Tribe aren't really denoted as not just being Seekers of the Sun. But you could also think about a world in which there could be a Korvosi Mikote, though they're probably just Seekers of the Sun. But a Mericidian branch makes a lot of sense because they've been functionally cut off for the better part of 5,000 years at this point. Also, some races have better facial hair than others, like Hrothgar with the mustaches. Even the races that do have decent facial hair, the facial hair options are garbage in this game. I don't even really use facial hair, so it's not a problem, but the facial hair options are garbo. That is one thing I would like them to fix and add more of. Though, I think the most important thing, for a lot of people I both know and people I don't know, is fixing Viera hair and Hrothgar hair for a lot more people. But that is his own thing, and they're working on it. I mean, this was my first ever character. Oh, was it, Jay? Well, awesome. Cool that our character names end in the same 2 letters. Mostly cosplay. I post some of them on Discord. Yeah, please do, Ray Ray. Speaking of, those of you who do photos for the Discord, fucking gorgeous shit. All of you. I wish Sayreen was here, because Sayreen posts a lot, but I do look at them if you post them, and I do appreciate them, and I know other people do as well. So if you ever take a photo you're proud of any kind, put it in screenshots. Ah, you must be the adventurer, Baderon promised. You've honored his word, so that's a good start. I'm Sailworm, and the old bastard, as Baderon likely described me, and this here is my humble orchard. A good number of lads and lasses working here once terrorized the high seas, and if you're wondering why I employ these scrags, well, they used to be a crew on my pirate ship. He's literally telling us everything we just learned. But the Calamity did it for our ship, blah, 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 blah. We literally just heard this. I had to feed myself and my crew somehow, and Admiral Merlwyb initiative to get us landlocked buccaneers work in the field seemed too fine an offer to refuse. I remember when I first started and I saw Merlwyb, and I was just like, I saw Merlwyb Bluefistfin, and just went, I don't even know how to pronounce that. And it's funny because now I say it all the time because it's fun, and like a lot of Roganin names are like, make sense, but they used to be, I'm just like, this is just a bunch of consonants and vowel, and I have no idea what it means. I just say Merle. Well, it turns out you can take the pirate away from the sea, but you can't take the sea away from the pirate. A lot of blokes just never took to tend in the soil, you see. And unfortunately, the botanists I call in to train them have been wringing their hands in black despair. With so much work piling up, I need a tougher soul like you to step in and help where it's needed. Well, I've got money now. Must have thigh highs. Before I overload and stop, yeah. Genesis, it's the OC factor for me and for alts, whereas my main is my OC collector and guildmaker. It's the OC factor for me for alts. Yeah, just having original characters. Yeah, there's I don't need other characters beyond the one, but there are ways in which I can see a certain other appearance of a person if I really want to, but obviously that's different than playing them. Though it looks like they haven't done a 6.1 changes update. Okay, Power, if you happen to find a list somewhere, please let me know. I have one character and it's how I see myself mentally. Ariel, that tends to be either how I see myself or a version of myself is represented as my primary character, which is also why I tend to play here so often in other games. I have a mind to set you to the task, Forgeron. But before I do, I need to be sure you're properly kitted out. Pirates don't care to parley with dandies, you understand. It might well be that the ones here have traded in their cutlass for coulters, but they're still rogues at heart. I know a solid set of gear when I see it. Come back when you think you're more suitably equipped. Thank you, Ray Ray. What? Oh, I don't have the head gear equipped. Thank you, Ray Ray. As long as you're this well covered, I won't feel any guilt. I literally put on an eye patch. I put on an eye patch. It's like, oh, he's like, no, you ain't got it, man. Put on an eye patch. Oh, shit, he's ready. I won't feel any guilt throwing you to the sharks. Erstwhile buccaneers are an ordinary lot. They rage in love for the sea and care little for the laws of the land. But they respect strength, and by the looks of you, I'd say you have little trouble getting their attention. I might pick up Arcanist later. Let's go ahead. Forgeron, the aura of confidence tells me you've not been idle since last we met. I hope I've read you all right. I've read you aright, and for a task that requires the attention of a capable adventurer. Might that adventurer be you? Nope, not me. Leaving. For Geomancer. Also, hi, Brian. Lovely to have you. Lovely to see you. For Geomancer, I'm thinking along the lines of ley lines. Yeah. I mean, the thing is that the ley lines are more Black Mage's thing, but, like, ethereal currents are effectively ley lines as we understand them, onto which Geomancers are... That is a lot of... Taking care of them and their connection points is also actually a very big part of their thing. You have heard the rumors of the abductions, aye. Citizens have been disappearing from every corner of Limsa, as if plucked from the face of Hydaelyn, boots and all, by an unseen hand. And what's this got to do with Summerford Farms, you might ask? Well, that remains to be seen, but it seems a collection of right unsavory fellows with azure-tattooed faces have been creeping up the edges of the field and spying on my yeomen. Now, I doubt anyone would enjoy being scrutinized by such savages at the best of times, but the farmhands are convinced that they're the kidnappers of the rumor, come for their hides. Needless to say, they're beside themselves with worry and work suffering for it, which is the very last thing I need when my old crewmen are still getting used to their new jobs. 'Tis a struggle to get them to leave the farmhouse of a morning. That is, as they say, where you come in. Would you be willing to investigate these tattooed thugs for me? Good lad. The sooner we get to the bottom of this, the sooner this place starts to resemble a working farm again. I suggest you begin by having a look around Seasong Grotto. If reports are believed, our unwelcome visitors have occupied that place. Be careful, though, Forgeron. I could say say for sure what manner of miscreants we're dealing with here. If they are kidnappers, well, just be on your guard, all right? And for those of you who have done Limsa, you know who we're about to meet. Back in ARR, I had my main for my physical jobs and an alt for magical jobs. Nowadays, I have everything maxed on Waco. I make alts for RP and just to have stuff to level again. God, I can't imagine wanting to, like... I have so much respect for those of you who just enjoy the process of leveling. Like, for me, the other thing is I get, like, I feel, like, bad having characters where then I need to complete things again, because then I can't be finished. I can't have a thing that's done. I can get to Omni 90 and be done with that task, right? Like my goal for the long term is trying to finish most achievements and do stuff like that, which, like, honestly, I do hunt trains mostly for trying to get the fate achievement for that. But I mean, like, some of the achievements are just stupid. Like, just the requirements for certain achievements in this game are baffling. They're not baffling, but just like, fucking Christ. Should female Hrothgar be ready by 7.0? I'd assume it's likely. I'd give it a 70-80% chance that that's the case based on the comments that have been made. I don't have as many alts as I used to, though, and I've been slowly deleting the ones I have to focus on my main. Interesting, Genesis. Anything that, like, prompted that? And so, like, Vayne, Ray, do both of you enjoy leveling with your altaholic behavior? Suzanne, I only have one alt, and I'm going to make my main. What's making you change? Is it because you wanted to do a different race, appearance, or something? I'd love to know. Or the row names are stuff like Rolling River. That's for Hellsguard, though. So for Seawolves, you'll see their classic Eorzean names. But for most Hellsguard, you will see an adjective. For males, you'll see an adjective. Well, I guess for both of them, you'll see an adjective and then a noun. And the noun for men is usually tied to like geographic locations or strong animals. And then for women, it's more often like flowers or colors. Or not colors. Maybe it's colors. Some achievements are no longer possible, like the ones for Asgardian Restoration. Yeah. So I will always and forever be not a fan of anything that is time gated. I am. It's Limlane's chant. Let me. I forget what it's actually called. It's not in here, but this is. I would worry about translating it live, but the something along the. If anyone has the actual full thing, I haven't been reading Eorzean lately, so I've gotten rusty. I'm now also a photographer. Awesome, Jay. Some of the achievements are crazy, yeah. And here I'm doing anima weapon, also crazy. I'm gonna give you on my main. I spent all of my tomestones over the course of like 2 years, just passively collecting all the parts for the anima weapons, and I literally have all of them now. I haven't gotten the light for all of them, but I literally have every one just because it was easy to get them. I love leveling and replaying some parts of the story. I also love to see the other starting area stories. Well, yeah, I changed race to Lala, and I wanted to. It makes sense, Suzanne. I get through MSQ skips the way some people get through Frontations. Oh, Ray. Okay, let's meet the fan favorite for most people, the fan favorite scion of most people. Is Gubu time. And after this, I will get back to chat.
I am the winds that guide. I am the evening stars. I am the morning sky. I am born of the sea, and there shall I die.
Glad they read it for us.
Thus reads the sailor's requiem, carved into yonder stone. Such words well describe the manner in which the citizens of Limsa, Lominsa live their lives. It is both a litany against misfortune for those out on the waves, and a prayer that the souls of those who perish on land might find their way back to the sea. Ah, you are the adventurer I've seen around Summerford Farms.
She's not the current Y'shtola in terms of voice acting, but boy is she better than the vast majority of A Realm Reborn ones. And I'm really glad that we didn't do Ulda again, because as much as I love it, Nanamo's voice actor in A Realm Reborn.
I thought myself on the trail of the kidnappers, but it would seem I have missed my mark. Or perhaps
Gubu
not.
time. Sassy even to the beginning.
As I suspected, the etheric disturbance here is no natural occurrence. Nor is it a coincidence that the two of us should come here in search of those responsible for the disappearances, only to be attacked.
She's taking forever to talk. There's literally only like 15 yards between us and the Gubu. We just saw it charging towards us. There's not enough urgency here. But one of the other things I want to point out is, look, it's the symbol of the scholar. I mean, it also could be the symbol of wind. It could be a bunch of the other things, but it's scholar spectacles, which is interesting because this is Limlane and the scholar's more associated with Ocean rather than Limlane.
But who stands to benefit from the keeping of this secret?
Yes,
Such thoughts must wait. Let us attend to the task at hand, unpleasant though it be.
I love Gubu. Also, the animation that we saw it running with, I think, is the same animation that they used, or at least it's a recreation of the animation that they used for the 1.0 cutscene, where the attack on the Ul'Dan parade that kills Menphilia's father. I don't have tank stance right. Tank stance Marauder or... Yeah, okay, cool. Let me catch on chat while this is going on. I love leveling and replaying some parts of the story. I also love seeing the other starting area stories. Is there any reason then to not just use New Game Plus? Kellen? I'd be curious to hear. I do enjoy leveling. I get kind of zen state doing it. Yeah, if it's relaxing, that totally makes sense. Maybe it's a leftover from Final Fantasy XI raising me as a young teen. Yeah, if that's your background, I mean, you're going to deal with a lot of bullshit if you're willing. If you're willing to deal with the Final Fantasy XI's bullshit, I mean, even the worst of a Realm Reborn is going to seem like fantastically, just ragingly quick. The prompt is a bit of a long story, but the TLDR is I currently am no longer RPing, so those alts are no longer needed for me. Oh, okay. Well, I hope you're still having fun, Genesis. Eglinton. Thanks for joining, Eglinton. I don't know if I've seen you message before. I had tons of alts in WoW, so it was super refreshing for me to be able to have one main to play in 14. I find a lot more attached to my Warrior of Light than I was my characters in WoW. Yeah, especially with how the MSQ is structured versus WoW and how WoW promotes alts. Phew. It makes sense. Hey, it's our first Crystal of Light. And the beginning of our gaining of the Blessing of Light. Important distinction, the Blessing of Light and the Echo are not the same thing. They are two separate things. Though as far as we know, the only people who have ever been granted the Blessing of Light from Hydaelyn also have the Echo. If you see these crystals and the mandala beneath your feet, that is referencing the Blessing of Light. The protection from Hydaelyn when Ultima Blast, that is the Blessing of Light. Everything to do with the Star Shower, our visions, stuff like that, that is the Echo. And that is to do with Sundered Souls, and all of us, and not all of us, anyone in theory can have a Sundered Soul, not everyone does.
Hear, feel, think.
However, at the same time we are gaining the Blessing of Light, Hydaelyn is showing us the Star Shower from the final days, which means this is the moment in which we are granted the Echo as well, partly why everyone gets very confused. So in the same moment, we are getting access to both. She is specifically awakening us in order to become a Warrior of Light. Because if you want to fight primals, if you want to be what's needed, you need to become a... You need to have the Echo to avoid temper. Everything she says here is technically true, but boy, is she freaking twisting it quite a bit. But she's also pretending to still be the Mother Crystal at this point.
Hydaelyn, all made one. A light there once was that shone throughout this realm, yet it hath since grown dim. And as it hath faltered, so hath darkness risen up in its stead, presaging an end to life. For the sake of all, I beseech thee, deliver us from this fate. The power to banish the darkness dwelleth in the crystals of light. Journey forth and lay claim to them.
Such a freaking classic-ass Final Fantasy convention. I mean, like, it makes sense, though, too, right? With the Realm Reborn, they had to prove they could make a Final Fantasy game. So the fact that it's so conventional in a lot of respects for Final Fantasy makes sense. And also the people making it grew up playing 1, 2, and 3, right? And 4, 5, and 6. But like, you think about how Natsuko Ishikawa and like Yoshi P
By thy deeds
reference
shall
Crystal
the
Tower all the time.
crystals reveal themselves to thee. Only believe, for the light liveth in thy heart.
So see, these are the other people that she's awakening, you know, like intentionally trying to draw other warriors of light. So we are not the only one with the echo, which you know from MSQ, but demonstrating it. I have used this image so many times. It's a good fucking shot.
Go now, my child, and shine thy light on all creation.
At least it's not AR weapons with the stupid books. Cat girl time. Yeah, the books for frickin', oh my god, the
Awake
books.
again? Are we?
The Realm Reborn relic weapons
Aha.
are
The poor creature's fury was kindled with cruel forethought. See this blade? I found it in the Gubu's back.
oh,
I
poor
have
Google.
seen knives of this kind before. They are most commonly used for the cutting of rope. It would appear our culprits are seafaring men of some persuasion, piratical being the most probable.
It's a fun word.
In any event, you seem much recovered from your sudden affliction. I confess, I was rather taken aback when you collapsed at the very moment of our victory. Mayhap a surfeit of ether? I beg your pardon.
Nah,
A
just tired.
towering crystal. I'm sure I don't. Oh.
It's very interesting that she doesn't immediately recognize that as the Mother Crystal.
Well, well.
I mean, she does.
This has been a day of unexpected
takes a second.
revelations. I must continue my investigation. In the meantime, I suggest you deliver this knife to your patron, along with a warning concerning the pirate's probable involvement in this murky business. The days ahead promise
God,
little
I look like a
rest,
clown.
I fear. May our paths cross again, under the light of the crystal.
Let me catch up real quick. Okay. Well, I've wanted to make alts for OC reasons. I think Final Fantasy XIV is very alt-friendly, so I stick with my main typically. It's not even just that it's not alt-friendly. It's incredibly not alt-promotive, right? The MSQ is restrictive. So I guess, yes, that makes it alt-unfriendly. But there's no real gained benefit to have one in any way, whereas like something like WoW it's designed for that. However, for me personally, it doesn't try to stop you from having alts. Aggressively at the very least for 14. For me personally, it's really nice that it's alt, like it's not alt focused because I don't like it. It's nice if it required alts, like it would make me want to play it less. Apox on Skyfire books on my second Zeta Relic. I did 7. Yeah, the books are terrible. 25 characters in Guild Wars 2. Jesus, Whirl. I had 2. And I played that game since beta. I had a super team in City of Heroes. Damn, John. No XP for New Game Plus, fair. Wasn't really a fan of what the Scions wore originally since it was modified standard gear. Only got more unique as time went on. Yeah, no one has good gear, particularly in the beginning. I kind of like Thancred's, but no one has. Yeah, I still enjoy my time in game. Awesome. Guess now you get the Blessing of Light. Does the New Game Plus let you play the other opening cities? I don't think so. No, it doesn't let you play other opening cities. It might let you play your original one, but it doesn't let you do the other ones. You have to have at least 3 characters to do all of them. Is there a reason for you as the Warrior of Light getting all the crystals, whereas we see that in the first, the Warrior of Lights individually get each one? The crystals are a link to... There was a couple possibilities. One of which is that the crystals are the link to Hydaelyn. On top of that, it may be that having 6 is not necessarily actually required. but is actually allows us for a much stronger connection to Hydaelyn compared to that crew. The other thing is that because it's a crew, they may effectively still have the blessing of light between them, shared between them by having all of them as a collective, even though they're not an individual. On top of that, the first is not the source, and so they may require less of a direct connection to Hydaelyn in a certain way in order to benefit from them. The other thing is that we don't necessarily know if they had the blessing of light. We know they had the crystals, and that the crystals of light exist. But we don't know that Ardbert and Game actually had the blessing. Just the crystals. That's the way to do it, lad. Now you've got the idea. Why don't you have hit him a little harder with that heavy swing of yours? Hold nothing back. I've not done Endwalker, so IDK if it gets addressed. It kind of. This is a point of contention between a lot of the lore YouTubers. Like some of us are like, some of us feel very strongly they've retroactively gone back on some of the things, or that they've like their answers are contradictive, and some of us feel like the answer actually works. You just have to think about it a certain way. But Endwalker a certain line in Endwalker can also potentially make it more confusing. Hydaelyn really playing up the cliche of the chosen one. That was the plan all along. Same thing with what Elidibus was doing by inspiring here Warriors of Light. Hydaelyn, re-echo versus Blessing of Light. It's so confusing that even the devs get confused. Yeah. I mean, I think part of it is just that they also didn't have, like, early on, it wasn't, when they were doing A Realm Reborn, it wasn't as clear yet how they wanted to do it. But they've also, like, for a long time avoided from explaining what precisely the Echo was, up until 5.3. And 5.3 makes it very, very clear what the Echo is. Even back then, Y'shtola was being sassy with us, always. Y'shtola with her cheek tapping. When I started, I got so annoyed with the mismatched colors, I bought so much dye. And then at 15, all of the Golam prisms. Yeah, honestly, for me... Oh, I need to go to Summerford Farms. Honestly, for me, I don't care when I'm leveling until I hit max. Oh, no, I don't. That's not very far. Until I hit max, I don't really care. Doesn't matter to me. It's like, I'm perfectly happy to look like a dumbass. Oh, actually, while we're at it, let's set... Wait, where is it? Going crazy? Oh, you know what? It's probably under. Yeah. There we go. My lads were all nabbing about hearing what sounded like all seven hells breaking loose near the grotto, and I feared I'd sent you to your death. If you were in the middle of that commotion, I hope it yielded something of interest. I hate to think you'd risk your life for naught. A blade pulled from the back. Oh. I agree that such a knife would be part of any seafaring man's kit. I'm starting to think that these ruffians are pirates, come to lure my farmhands back to a life of plunder. Chances are they didn't take kindly to your appearance on their doorstep and set a mad and goobu on you. Aye, the pirates have been added to their numbers of late. I'd best warn the lads and lasses in my employ to be on guard against their schemes. Also, starting in Limsa kind of makes... Starting in Limsa really does make doing... Wow. My brain's not working today. Grotto make a lot more sense. You met someone else at the grotto, a woman with a strange contraption. Ah, Y'shtola. She's been in Lominsa for a good while now. Her studies of the Aether often bring her out to Summerford, so her presence at the grotto is hardly unusual. She's odd-looking lass, I grant you, but she's not the kind to associate with kidnappers. You may take my word for that. Where trust should be lacking is in those yeomen of mine who have yet to wholly relinquish their pirate pasts. The temptation to return to the free or easy life of buccaneer may prove too strong to resist. Yeah, my thanks, Forgeron. If you weren't for the efforts of stalwart adventurers like yourself, this farm would be in a far worse state than it is. Just you keep on leading your talents to those in need, eh? Help bring Limsa the brighter future she deserves. Even without the blessing, how would you say our powers develop? Our personal strength is even to take on the toughest enemies, where it would take a small army. Yeah, we as a function of time definitely grow stronger. That is also a byproduct of what our soul is, and also just the adventuring and things we go through as the Warrior of Light. We have access to the Echo, the Blessing of Light, a particularly powerful soul, and all the experience that we accrue over the course of time. We know canonically we get stronger. We know we get canonically stronger just from Stormblood alone, from one end of Stormblood alone to the other. But if you could take that progression all the way to Endwalker, it's clear that as a course of time we are getting stronger and stronger. That sea sloth Severin and his lot, never around when there's work to be done. I'd sooner hire you for the sake of getting things done, but then that rapscallion would never learn. Round them up and let them know that Stalewern would like a word, and don't take no for an answer. We're practically Goku. I mean, like, it's not inapt. I think the thing, though, is that they do avoid power creep in some meaningful ways. Like, as much as power does creep, it's more built than creeped. If you came looking to hire a chocobo porter, I'm afraid I must disappoint you. Our birds are very fickle creatures and tend to become agitated around those with certain lack of demeanor. Return them once you have proven you can handle yourself, and I will personally see that you are assigned our best bird. So Zai Rarzai. How am I supposed to work on an empty stomach? Go on. I have a guess at what I had for breakfast. Breaded sticks. What? Gods, how did you know? It's my breath, ain't it? It probably smells as wooden as the food tasted, but I know why you're here. I'd just as soon get some real food in me, but I ain't one to reject summons from the captain. Oh, actually, there's one out here. Oh, there's multiple out here. Let's do those. Yermus. Axes were made for splitting skulls, not stumps. You know what I did in my sailing days. Wanton slaughter. You bet your beard I did, lad. Aye, those were the days. I reckon now I'll have to be satisfied taking my axe to the trees. He has a botanist axe too. It's, yep. Fitting. Come on. Am I gonna have to walk all the way? Okay. I was sad when you don't get a falcon in Yanxia like you do a chocobo. Well, at least you do get the lanners. Oh no, that's Heaven's Word. At least you can get the lanners. But yeah, no, I hear you. There is the Yol, right? Like I think the Yol is supposed to kind of take that Thunderbird Falcon sort of place. So Stalewern sent you. So what do you reckon I say to that? Work is for the weak and witless. I've saucers. Works for. Damn right, didn't get where I am by taking guff from any glorified gardeners. But I suppose I could go see what he wants and get him off my back. Chocobos are apparently non-existent in the Far East, so they don't migrate to that area. Yep. They are not a common sight. That is true, AC. Though, interestingly, one of this is just something I noticed, but one of the colors that you can get them, dye them, feed them to become is Othardian blue, which is kind of funny. I'm Severin. You're the old man Aaron's boy now. Tell my dear old captain not to wet his britches. I'll be along. Oh, and just so we're clear, I don't care for landlubbers. Go find the chocobo you rode in on and ride on out. But I walked. My brain broke for a second. Oh, he's inside. Oh my god, I'm so not used to seeing numbers. Okay, he's not inside. I see someone's a fair end of Pirates of the Caribbean. Parlay? Work? Ha! Can't work when my hands are full of lifting this mug. You know, I'd wager me last skill you'd never guess what I'm drinking. Well, you're right about the swill part. I reckon it might be worth a day of doing Stalwern's chores if it afforded me a taste of proper grog. Oh, it's just an elite marks guy. The Raven Queen of Ladybugs, Skog's Fru, natural veracity for pests have taken an unnatural turn. Not content with emptying the field of pollen carriers and soil tillers, the adamant-shelled Skog's Fru had attempted a new diet consisting of chocobos and their riders. Okay, yeah. That's all the same stuff that's in Encyclopedia Eorzea. Would you consider our ability to find things luck, or more something like the Echo? Yeah, we're continuing for a bit longer. We're probably going to continue for a couple more minutes here, but then we're going to wind it down. Actually, this might be we'll see. You continue to impress, lad. All but Severin are accounted for. It's no fault of yours he squirmed out. I've let the worm wriggle through my fingers more times than I can count. But rest assured, the next time I see him, I'll put him squarely in the dirt, where all such worms belong. I didn't even realize what time it was. Let me pick up this quest. Pains me to say, but all the gil in the world can't buy loyalty. There are some like you who can't be trusted, but then there are others. Until now, I've had no choice but to rely on the charlatan Severin, even though I'm full aware he's been doing shady dealings behind my back. More than once, I've heard him tell of improper trading with goblins. Oh, but I love goblins. I wouldn't be the least surprised if that was happening right now. Not a bell ago, a sack of oranges vanished, as did Severin. I want you to find and confront the bastard for me, Fortron. I'm sure there's wrongdoing afoot, so be sure to doubt anything that comes out of his mouth. Okay, you know what? That actually probably is a good place to pause for here because it is getting late and I have some other work that I've got to do. Yeah, I think we just have a keen eye, AAC. I don't think it's necessarily indicative of a particular association and connection with the Echo. Yeah, throughout the MSQ, it's been said that we have an uncanny ability to find things. I think we're just supposed to be in canon observant and lucky. Okay, I guess that wraps up for episode 1. I thank you all so much for showing up. There's so many of you and some new faces as well. And I'd also like to thank any and all who donated money. 1, it's really helpful for life, but 2, having 3 people donate money in my first for the stream for YouTube is just. It's really, really helpful. Channel doesn't make a bunch of money, so this is actually probably like a 10th or an 8th of the money that I would make in a month from YouTube. With that said, if you haven't, feel free to check out our Discord where we talk about all sorts of lore things and have an overall fun time. We also talk about other just general Final Fantasy stuff, so please do that. There should be a link in the description for this channel, or Ray I'm sure might be able to link that if she's still around. On top of that, feel free to check out our Patreon where you can support us if you want to see this whole thing, continue going and do a lot better and potentially get new equipment. Although actually, just due to some life circumstances, I already got some equipment. So most money will now be saved so that the crew from Eorzean Archives, can go to the fan fests together and hopefully record it, and that'll be a lot of fun. Other than that, I mean, that's just about everything. Yeah. Thank you so much for joining me, everyone, and I hope you have a lovely, lovely weekend. What day is it? Week? No, it's like Tuesday, isn't it? I've lost track of time. I hope you all have a lovely week. See you next time. Bye.